The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes,
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Feel Good Friday, October 9th, 2020. Thanks for the beat drop there by our friend Twine. Today's a big day. We have, in the third hour joining us, TJ Watt of the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Defensive Player of the Year favorite. In the second year, we have the man who did the first ever gritty on an NFL field just a few weeks ago, and also a man who's on a team that just picked up their big win, their first big win against the Houston Texans. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Thielen will be joining us today. And in the first hour here in a little bit, we'll have him for like 10 minutes or so before he goes back to breaking more news on NFL Network. We have the man who once dunked on Boston Connor, Mr. Tom Pelissero, to keep us updated on everything that's happening in the world right now of the NFL. In the world of the NFL, obviously COVID has found another target in the New York Jets organization, which we're not 100% sure what's going to happen there. The Patriots game has been moved to Monday at 5 p.m., and I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, the two people that will be calling that game on Monday at 5 p.m. are Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler.
Yep.
So we have a 5 p.m. Monday Night Football game, then obviously the regular program Monday Night Football game after that. I like that a lot more than pushing the game back until 1 a.m. I assume they made the adjustment after last week and said this is what we should do instead. 5 p.m. football, baby. I've been all about it. Yeah. I've been asking for weekday afternoon football for a long time. You see the Olympics, you watch it all damn day.
Hell yeah.
WWE has a middle of the day pay-per-view because they're over in Middle East. I watched the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
People watching at home. The World Cup, we watch that thing all day.
All day. Mm-hmm.
I've always said, I feel like daytime during the workday, which is where we are, by the way. Congrats to us. Shout out to us being here and kind of taking our own tips and opinions here to heart. I feel like during the day, people are more apt to watch some stuff. 5 o'clock, I think their numbers are going to be large. I think this is going to be big numbers because that is much better than having it start or end at 1 a.m., which I would assume some olds and even some younger olds can't make it that far and watch the entire evening. So shout out to the NFL still trying to make things happen. What will happen with the Jets and the Arizona Cardinals? Who knows? Cardinals are supposed to hop on a plane and fly to New York today with the one COVID positive in the New York Jets organization. Will the Cardinals fly out? TBD. Maybe that game gets moved again. Then how does that affect the future one? I will still stand by the fact that I believe within the next 10 days, we will potentially hear, well, I can't say potentially because then it's not as strong as I feel, but it kind of gives me an out when it happens. So I'll keep it in. It plays. I think we will potentially hear in the next 10 days Roger Goodell have to come out and talk about having an extra week or two at the end of the NFL season as buffer weeks for teams to make up games if need be, because we have to remember that the hotels in Tampa for the Super Bowl that are rented by the NFL have been right of first refusal by the NFL for an extra month afterwards. So that means that is going to be the plan. Ultimately, they said forfeiture or something like that is last case scenario. So maybe if a team misses 4 games and they can't do it in whatever, maybe that'll be it. I think we're going to see an extra week or two at the end to add on to games, which doesn't, by the way, just affect the teams that could make the playoffs. Let's talk about the teams that are way out of it. Will they even put their team on the field? Who knows? I mean, there is a lot to be figured out, but it's 2020. And I think we had a great depiction of what 2020 was just last night. When our game's greatest player of all time, our game, okay, the NFL, football, greatest player of all time in almost everybody's mindsets, the man who has won 6 Super Bowls, the man who was drafted out of Michigan, like pick 199 or whatever the hell it was, and came in and led a dynasty for 20 straight years of success and has since parted ways, and now he's at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where a lot of players are ring chasing to follow him because he is the greatest player of all time. The depiction of 2020 is our greatest player of all time at the end of the game last night, being caught on camera in a crucial moment to lose the game, not knowing that their offensive series was over. That is something that, you know, whenever you talk about 2020 and things come out of left field, like, hey, what's going on? You're looking this way. Wow! Right on the side of the face. You don't see it coming. That is what 2020 has been. Sports shutdown. Oh, never saw that coming.
Nope.
World shuts down. Whoa, holy shit.
What?
Did not see that coming. Murder hornets?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Excuse me?
Murder hornets. What are you talking about? The entire left side of our country is on fire? What?
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 Huh?
4 or 5 months into this thing, we still don't have an answer for a virus that was supposed to only be like 2 weeks out of our life. Like, what the fuck is
Where's
going on?
science?
Now Tom Brady has no idea that 4 downs are played. That is a problem. That is maybe, I mean, we only talk about sports world, but in the sports world, I think that is potentially the last thing on the list of things you thought would ever happen is Tom Brady not know situational football or situational awareness because the New England Patriots, now let's not go ahead and say that they got it all figured out either because they had a quarterback take a sack with no timeouts left at the end of half in field goal range, and they lost their situational football, which made me think like, whoa, the Patriots 2020, this is crazy. But now that we see the greatest quarterback of all time in a game-winning situation, which is what this dude never, ever, ever blinks, never flinches. That's why he's Tom Brady. He literally doesn't sweat. His eye black doesn't move ever, even back whenever it was cheap-ass eye black that wasn't really waterproof. His stuff was never moved. Looked like he never, ever sweat, which is why Tom Brady, old Tommy Foxborough, is the guy that is who he is. Last night with the picture of him holding 4 fingers up to a ref, questioning on whether or not it was still 4th down. No, it's 5th down now, and that means the other team has the ball. That means you guys lose. They're going to kneel it out. And that team that's going to kneel it out, by the way, Big Dick Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears at home get another one. They're 4-1 now. I don't know if you got victory steaks last night or if you're going to get birthday steaks tomorrow. Happy birthday to Zito.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to Zito. Yeah. That had to be a great night to be a Bears fan because when they were undefeated, everybody that knows the game of football said, hey, Chicago Bears the worst undefeated team maybe in the history of the NFL.
Very done.
So then they lose. They're 3-1. Okay, and Nick Foles in his first game, he only 3 points. He was terrible. God awful football player. I mean, he was a bad football player. Nagy comes out and says, no, we're sticking with Nick Foles. This is for the duration here. This is our quarterback. This is our guy. We're going to go with him. And you heard a lot of the pundits on TV said, well, all the players know that Nick Foles is a guy who's won. He's been there. He's done that. So you know that you have a chance in every single game. And I'm not saying that the pundits said that you don't have that with Mitchell Trubisky, but it does feel like Nick Foles was a calming factor. But his first game he played, not great. I mean, not great at all. First quarter he played last night. Not great. Not great at all. But that defense with primetime players like Khalil Mack, primetime players are primetime players because in primetime games, they make primetime plays. And that is what Khalil Mack made a bunch of last night. Had great interactions with Tom Brady, by the way. Love him whispering in his ear at the end of the game, basically, and Tom Brady rolling his eyes. But this Chicago Bears team is now 4-1. And nobody has a clue what team they are. Everybody's still going to say they stink, but they just beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, granted, Tampa Bay Buccaneers had no weapons, okay? Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, dressing, but Mike Evans playing, but scored a touchdown, by the way. Big ups to him. That was a plus 500 boost last night. Mike Evans scored first touchdown. He couldn't run at all. He still scores touchdown. Mike Evans is a man that should be in a conversation of, hey, great wide receivers. As is Allen Robinson, 10 catches last night. And there was a couple where he had to make some magical plays. And he started a little bit rocky there. I think he gave up a pick or whatever. It hit off his hands. But Allen Robinson, superstar. That Bears team, it doesn't matter how you win. The fact that they're winning games, Chicago's got to be pumped. And are you pumped about Nick Foles? Are you pumped about Nagy? Are you just pumped that the team that you guys have cheered for a long, long time is just winning games and you have no idea why like the rest of the world?
I will tell you, Nick Foles said last night it was a fist fight. And I love when your quarterback comes out after a game we've punched the shit out of those guys.
Well, the thing about Nick Foles, too, they said, did you get a chance to talk to Tom Brady after the game? Tom Brady just immediately left the field. Yeah. And Nick Foles said, because of social distancing, we're not doing that or whatever. But Nick Foles was standing there looking for him, and Tom just jogged off the field. I wonder if there was a little bit of disrespect feel by Nick Foles.
Animosity.
And by the way, at this point, I don't know about animosity. I would assume Tom Brady didn't do that out of because there's probably a lot of people that Tom Brady shakes hands with, right? Coach probably comes up to Tom Brady. Like, for instance, if I'm on the other team and we're playing the Tom, well, normally through my career, I was with Vinatieri, so Tom would actually come to our – he would come to us.
Come to us, too.
You know what I mean? He'd come to us. Just like, by the way, Belichick would come to us, I'll say.
Yeah,
but
specialists.
While we were sitting there, me and Vinny combined 5 Super Bowls. You know what I mean?
Pretty good.
So,
That's a lot.
So he would come, or 4 Super Bowls. He would come to us. A
lot of jewelry.
Yeah. So when me and Vinatieri are in a room, know that there are multi-time Super Bowl champion ship rings in that room.
Hell yeah.
And by the way, if you walk into a room with Vinatieri, same thing for you, by the way.
Whoa.
Unbelievable.
Hold the phone.
But it would be interesting that Tom Brady probably didn't want to talk to anybody So it's not just Nick Foles that he slighted there. I would assume that after games for Tom Brady is a full, I assume it is a full meet and greet session almost, because that's what it was like for Peyton. That's what it's like for all the guys. Because all these young guys that were playing are in the league, got a chance to play against Tom Brady. They're like, okay, I got to go meet Tom Brady. I played against him. And everybody probably says, hey, big fan, man. Even if they got bombed on by Tom Brady. If you have the opportunity, which you probably never have again, go, hey, big fan, Tom. Like, nice meeting you. Like that type of thing. That was probably what Tom was leaving. And Tom was probably also shown the photo of Patrick Mahomes and Stephon Gilmore after the game. And then it comes out a day later that Stephon Gilmore had COVID. And now they're like, well, does Patrick Mahomes have it? He doesn't, thank God, somehow. Don't know anything about COVID, by the way, if that wasn't a situation that would cause them to potentially share. Because they were talking helmet to helmet.
Oh, yeah.
So that's...
Pretty close.
That's
46.
Unless he has antibodies, which I would not be surprised by Patrick Mahomes having antibodies. His body probably does fight against it. But Tom Brady with all those things, because I saw the internet talking about Tom basically being like LeBron, how LeBron walked off the court a couple days ago. Like, hey, Tom was doing that. I'm like, I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think this is the same situation. This is probably Tom not wanting to have a meet and greet or potentially get COVID. And maybe also a little bit of, I hate that Nick Foles guy. I'm not going
Undefeated
over
against
there.
him.
Last night was great football. Fun to watch. The under hit. Shout out to Tony Unders over there.
Boy, Tone.
Appreciate you, Tone.
It was quite a ride.
Having me take that because it started out like a lock. There was a missed third down completion here. There was field goal instead of touchdown. There was this. There was a lot of things happening early for the under to hit. Then it got a little bit hot. Pum, pum, pum. 2 touchdowns in like what? 2 minutes or something like that for the Bears. They take the lead going into half. First time in Tom Brady's career, I guess, where he's had to lead by at least 10 points in the first half and not go into halftime with the lead or something like that. Some stat made the board. But last night's football was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching it. I had a great time. We learned a lot about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe they don't have it figured out yet, or maybe they just had no players. But that fourth down call, 4th and 5, where they throw it into a triple team and then not know that it was 4th down and the game's over, that is a little alarming. I mean, that is something that I think we would all say is a little bit alarming.
Have you ever seen something like that?
Yes, I've jogged on the field with young quarterbacks when it's 4th down and they think like it's still 3rd. Like I'm jogging on the field like
No, it's
What are you doing?
yeah, like,
You playing in the slot
like
team
even
right
to
now,
like
or?
offensive linemen, it's happening where you're like, hey, like, hey, good try, like good try. Wide receiver, same thing.
yeah.
Like, hey, good try, because as you're jogging on the field, so that happens.
Yeah.
But the quarterback, especially Tom Brady, you would assume not happen, and I would assume with a younger quarterback, the offensive play caller is going in there and he's going, okay, we got 3rd down and 5 here. Don't turn the ball over. We can just punt if we have to. Here we go. And then they read the play, right? I would assume that there's a little bit of that. That's why with young quarterbacks, the ability to have the speaker in your thing is such a big deal. That's why cutting it off at 15 is such a big deal, because they don't want them to be able to just tell them everything, because that is a weapon.
Yeah.
In some offensive coordinators, I would assume with young quarterbacks, I mean, the only time I played quarterback, I had no speaker in my helmet. Old school, no big deal. Wow. But no big deal. And I took the snap 14 and a half yards instead of the 7. Maybe they should try it. Can't get a rush on me. No big deal. If you have a big enough arm, that really doesn't affect you.
true.
Yeah, I took basically a 14-step drop back.
You Mahomes.
Yeah, me and Mahomes do the same thing.
Steve-
Super Bowl
Steve
wasp.
Young.
Yeah.
That's what I played basically. Anyways, so I would assume Byron Leftwich didn't feel like he had to do that to Tom. I assume Byron Leftwich didn't assume he had to go, hey, 4th down now. We have to pick up a 1st down, keep this thing alive however you can. I would assume he didn't do that. Will that be something they do moving forward? Or will they all just be like, okay, that we all know that can't happen again? Who knows? And that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. There's been moments of greatness. There's been moments of what is that? And Tom Brady even came out with his interview with EA before the show. Aaron Andrews, nicknamed EA. I learned that.
Sports.
EA, it's in the game. EA, he basically said, like, not having preseason in his entire life would he have ever thought was a big deal. But in this particular season, not having a preseason, he thought was pretty detrimental. And then he said in my previous home, I think he said New England. I don't know if he didn't say New England.
Wow.
I wish I would remember that little detail if he would have just said like my previous team or
before.
But I think he said in New England, I was always the constant and people were coming in. So everybody had to learn my offense. He said, now it's the complete opposite. I have to learn their. So he said there's a lot of things that he thinks like the way this year has been set up as opposed to every other year that maybe he didn't learn as quickly as he thought he was, or they didn't gel as quickly as they had thought. But now they're at the point where Tom's chewing people out. So I assume he's comfortable with the boys, right? You're not just chewing out people that you don't get along with. Yeah. And some people might say like, oh, he shouldn't do that to his teammates. It's like, no, if that's the type of guy he is, if he's doing that, that means he's comfortable with those guys. Okay. He's not just going to do that to somebody that he doesn't like or whatever. And now granted, there's different ways to do things. Hey, We've all seen the video footage of Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday almost getting into a fist fight on the sideline. We've all seen and heard about stories of basically every quarterback that's probably ever come into the NFL getting into it with somebody on the sideline, except for Andrew Luck. That guy never got into it with anybody, and I actually thought that was a detriment to him. I wish that there was a couple times where he would potentially chew people out. So I think the book is still out on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, on the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers. I think they could be great. I think they could potentially fizzle out here for whatever reason because they're not all on the same page or they don't get it. I think both of those are very equally likely. But in my eyes, since I picked them to go to the Super Bowl very early, I'd like to believe that they're going to figure this out and get it going. But I can't have the fucking quarterback not knowing it's 4th down at the end of the game. Just can't have it. And then the drive before that, whenever you're up 2 and you can put the game away and you only eat off like 12 seconds off the clock and you run a passing play when you only have 1 wide receiver and Ronald Jones runs out right into like 4 people for a check down. Like that is a problem. There are some situational football, alarming situations that happened last night that you would not expect for a team that has Tom Brady as a quarterback. They're going to have to figure that out. But if you're the Chicago Bears, who gives a fuck? That's not on you. That's a hell of a Thursday night football. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman did incredible. This weekend, games are all over the board. We got 2 on Monday, I believe. We got 1 on Tuesday, potentially. We got a bunch on Sunday. We got college football on Saturday. We'll talk about it all today with our guest Tom Pelissaro, Adam Thielen, and TJ. What? All the boys are here at Tone Diggs, at Boston Connor, Ty Schmidt, at Viva La Zito. We have to get to a break, Zito, after your big Bears win, birthday weekend as well. What is your big old poll of the day for the people?
Hey, Zeet's poll today is who will have a more successful 2020 season? As of right now, Tom Brady's at 31.6%. Mr. Belichick's at 68.4%.
This is obviously a poll that Zito put out there strictly to profit off of the "What have you done for me lately" crowd.
I don't know. That seems like a pretty honest poll.
Zito wants Bill Belichick to win because he is roommates with a man who is a diehard New England Patriot fan. Somehow, Boston Connor's toxicity towards Tom has penetrated the birthday boy Zito. You want to see Tom Brady lose this poll?
No, I want Tom Brady to win.
Don't even.
No, you do not.
I think he's going to be more successful.
Zito wants 50-50. He always wants 50-50.
No, he's not a sports book.
I will tell you, I never vote. I can't.
No,
I voted Brady.
But hold on. You hanging on to this poll, though, until conveniently the day after your Bears team beat Tom Brady and he makes a crucial error at the end of the game that he wouldn't normally make is interesting timing. And I would say that's leading journalism. I would say that is.
I will say the Bears are on the Panthers. Brady's in the rearview mirror, so we don't care about him anymore.
All right, we have to get to a break. Tom Pelissaro joins us on the other side. He said something this morning. What was his tweet? What did it allude to?
It was even if there are more positives potentially for the Titans or Patriots, I believe, in the next couple days because of contact tracing.
Contact tracing.
Contact
Contact like
Jesus.
you're contacting each other.
That doesn't necessarily mean that the game needs to be moved anymore.
Well, and that's what we thought originally, right? If you're testing everybody and you're keeping everybody away from each other, if 3 people have it, why do we have to shut down the entire facility or whatever? But the Titans, it turned out 3 people didn't. 27,000 people.
Right.
All of Nashville potentially had it, even those fucking pedal bars, which we said had been the problem since the beginning. Amen. 21 minutes into this Feel Good Friday, October 9th. We're back on the other side with Tom Pelissaro. Hopefully some more insider information. So when we talk about these games this weekend, we can give you accurate, shit. 1-888-MAD Dog 6. It's the Pat McAfee Show. Cheers.
Wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because
I know where you're going. I think I got something to support it.
I wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because when you look up the numbers, it seems like the better football team, okay? But then the ticket situation happened, and the lines went from 5.5 to 3.5, so I'm staying away from the side. I am taking another fucking under tonight, okay?
Tony, let me tell you something.
You go first, and then I'll tell you why I'm taking the under.
It's no fun.
Prime time
I love it.
games
losing,
this
though.
year
I don't care.
are 8-6 to the under.
8-6 the under. Okay. Let me tell you something. Chicago's defense, number 5 in opponent's point per play. Number 7 opponent yard per play. Number 3 in opponent third down converges. Number 1 in opponent red zone scoring.
Oh, that's a problem.
Number 6 in opponent yards per pass. And number 7 overall in DVOA on defense. Tampa's defense, number 4 in opponent yards per play, number 10 in opponent third down conversion, number 9 in opponent red zone scoring, number 2 in opponent yard per rush, and number 2 in all total defensive DVOA. 39% of the tickets are on the under. 70% of the money's on the under. Tony Diggs, Tony Unders is on the under 44.5 tonight.
Good for you, Tony.
Good for me.
Good for you making a bet on Thursday night.
Babe.
Zito sent
This is
dude.
awesome.
A fucking cat falls from 6 stories and lands on this dude's head and knocks him out.
But
lands on its feet.
best part.
And then
The dog
Is that dog wearing Jordans?
Yes,
and
Air Bud.
and then this dog wearing Jordans finds the cat and fucking tries to fucking box it for falling on this dude's head.
That guy dead?
That guy dropped like a sack of bricks.
Yeah, is he dead?
A cat fell on him from 6 stories, Gumpy.
That guy weighed 20 pounds.
Fucking broke his
Did that
neck.
cat scalp him?
Spinal fluid leaking into his.
Oh, yeah, you can see him go lifeless. He is dead.
And then the dog reprimands the cat. I mean, it really is good to see this animal.
For some reason, the dog is wearing Jordans.
I've never seen
I love.
somebody
It's Air
drop
Bud.
like that in my life.
It is Air Bud.
Well, the dog investigates the corpse. He determines the cause of death.
Sucker.
And his tail's wagging as he's walking up to the guy, too.
Who did this?
What, bitch?
Yeah, I fell on that motherfucker.
That's wild.
You know what? Can anyone around here help this guy out? I mean, you're standing next to this guy, and it looks like someone point blank shoots him in the head with a shotgun, and people just keep walking.
This is the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
You're damn right, Liz. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Friday, October 9th. Feel Good Friday. October 9th.
Ooh,
All right.
Let's feel good.
This beat sounds a little... It's October.
Is this Click Clack?
From out of space.
October here. Yeah. Oh. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. That's a great beat drop there.
Yeah.
Shout out to our guy Twine, I do believe. We're being joined now by a man who only has a few minutes, so let's get right into this thing. From the NFL Network, an insider, a man who dunked on Boston Connor on his last appearance. He looks like he's 12, but has the knowledge of a 90-year-old man. The young, the handsome, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Pelissaro.
Thank you, boys.
Attaboy, Tom. How you doing, pal?
Fantastic.
Last night showed a little bit of Tom Brady maybe not being the perfect quarterback that everybody has always thought that he was. What are you hearing out of Tampa Bay this morning? Is he going to cut and fire everybody over there, Tom?
Well, it's interesting listening to Bruce Arians try to explain the unexplainable, which is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, one of the best players of his era, and a guy who certainly, for whatever physically Tom Brady may have lost at this stage in his career, mentally has remained far ahead of everybody, not knowing what down it was at the end of the game. I mean, it's not as if there's a lot of, as you look at the photo, I mean, you want to talk about a meme instantly. That's one of about 5 that Brady created last night. I don't sense that there's any kind of a panic or an overreaction to it. It's just kind of a very unusual situation that you run into at the end of a game, where I would think the more concerning thing for Bruce Arians and the Bucs really coming out of it would be what happened to the offense as a whole after the first couple of drives when they were putting points on the board.
Great question there, Tom. And you can listen to Tom Pelissaro on SiriusXM NFL Radio and see his handsome face on NFL Network. Tom, the only thing we want to know about, and I assume your life is consumed about, is COVID-19, games being moved. At what point do you think the NFL just adds a week at the end of the season or two to make up games? And what do we expect out of this weekend with this Jets situation with the Cardinals game?
Well, with regard to Week 18, that's definitely been discussed. It's a possibility just depending upon what might happen in the coming weeks here. But it's not as if this is kind of a front burner, like, all right, let's just screw it. Let's shut it down. Let's move games to the end of the year. They don't want to do that in the short term. Certainly, we're looking at the Patriots and the Titans situations. Those two games already being moved. The most concerning thing with those potentially, or I shouldn't say concerning, but the thing that you're going to have to be aware of here is it is quite possible that you are going to have additional positive tests for the Titans and or the Patriots, because the contact tracing data that the NFL has pulled shows that both Stephon Gilmore and some of the Titans players who recently tested positive also had what they consider to be close and high-risk contact with other people on the team. So it's almost expected you're going to have additional positive this weekend, but let's be clear, that's not necessarily going to cause the NFL to shut it down or to cancel the games. With the Jets situation, really, it's important to understand the procedure that happens here. So my understanding is a player in the normal round of daily testing, his PCR test came back positive. What happens when you get a positive test from the previous day? Three things. They rerun the original sample. They do a point-of-care test with rapid results, and they do a new PCR test. Well, there was a discrepancy between the PCR rerun and the point-of-care test, so the new PCR test is basically the tiebreaker. And now what happens is they send that to a lab, which happens to be in New Jersey, so it's very close. It's possible that this ends up getting confirmed today, and there's a Jets player who's positive, and the abundance of caution that they showed by having everybody go home today would be justified. If it's shown to be a false positive, then guess what? The player and the Jets could be back in the building later today and resuming practice. The NFL has not, to this point, shut down games because of one positive test. They did delay the Chiefs game last week against the Patriots because Cam Newton had a lot of close contacts that were concerning. But then as they further explored the data, they realized that not a lot of it was high risk. They explored the surveillance video from inside the Patriots facility. They saw people wearing masks, wearing contact tracers, Cam and everybody who was around him. They felt comfortable going forward with the game. But, there's also those contact tracers come off when you're outside the building, and you're not necessarily having people going around telling you to put on your mask when you're outside the building, all of which led to Stephon Gilmore has his positive test. A defensive tackle on the practice squad named Bill Murray also tested positive. This is one of only two cases here where you have a concern about multiple positive tests in the same time frame with one team that we've had since the season began. So the NFL is reviewing both the Titans and Patriots situations. But as of now, even if you do have an additional positive case or two that emerged this weekend for one of those teams, fully expect that the Patriots will be playing on Monday afternoon and the Titans will be playing on Tuesday night.
William Murray needs to figure it out on that practice squad. We need him to take it easy there. Titans Bills will play on Tuesday night. So now we have two Monday night football games, a Tuesday night game, but we no longer have a Thursday night game between Bills and Chiefs because of what happened with Titans. There was a conversation about that game potentially being Saturday night. Now it's been moved to Sunday. Why do we not have a Saturday night NFL game? Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that one, Tom. Maybe run that up the pole or the ladder over there in your NFL Network basement that you have.
Well, the NFL has had kind of a standing agreement with colleges and high schools that they'll stay off a Friday and Saturday. It's not necessarily a hard and fast rule in every case, but
good for football.
They've kind of stayed away from playing that, which is why there's always Saturday games on NFL Network in December when you have that break between the conference title games and the college football playoff. So in general, they've stayed away from that. You also can understand if, Alabama's playing on a Saturday night, you may not get as good a ratings as you otherwise would have for a Chiefs game.
It's Bama, Georgia, by the way, which is a rather large game happening on Saturday.
So why would you want to go up against that rather than simply manipulating and moving games around in the Sunday window? That's
because
really
I would like to bounce back and forth between Bama, Georgia, and Bills Chiefs. Is there something wrong with the Monday Night Wars, Tom? You ever heard about that? Maybe we make a little you don't like, but I understand the NFL looking out for football as a whole. That is probably
even look back to last week where you had a Monday night doubleheader, but the first game between the Chiefs and Patriots overlapped the Packers-Falcons game. What happened this week? Well, all of a sudden you have a doubleheader where those games are spaced out. You're taking up more of the window. They're learning. Every one of these situations is new, not just with COVID-19, but the actual bottom line aspects of the situations this creates. How do they get the most football on TV in the best windows possible while also doing it in a responsible manner from a health and safety perspective? That's really kind of the framework and the context of this. And every player, listen, and Pat, you've been in that position. You have to take the responsibility in these spots to do everything you can to prevent the spread. Whatever you think about the disease, and we can have certainly intellectual debates about mortality rates and all this type of stuff. If you want to continue to collecting a paycheck as an NFL player, you have to protect the team. Yeah. I mean, if games go away, if the season gets canceled, you stop getting paid. And on top of that, there would be a $1 billion plus revenue impact that would impact salary caps for years to come. There's a lot at stake.
Very suit and league of you to only put blame on players there.
No, listen.
No, Tom. This is what you just said. You players need to take this upon yourself.
The NFL, Pat, on Monday, and you can go back. I reported this last Sunday. The NFL on Monday had a conference call with GMs and head coaches where I'm not going to say that they had the riot act read to them, but it was made clear in no uncertain terms. If we get positive cases, it is not the protocols that is failing. It is the people that are failing. Yeah. Everybody's got responsibility here. Yeah. Nobody can get complacent. Everybody has to try to do the right thing if we want to actually finish the season.
What day did you say that? Monday?
I said it on Sunday. The call was Monday.
Well, here's the goddamn Friday, and you already forgot about that. You just put all the blame on the players. What is it, 5? This is a feel-good Friday, and you're just like, hey, the players
It's
need
been
to...
a long damn week, Pat.
So with that being said, they had the riot act read to them. What's going to happen with the Titans?
That's a great question. That review is ongoing. I can tell you that they have pulled surveillance video. They have conducted interviews. They have been looking into multiple instances involving different position groups holding unauthorized off-site workouts, which would potentially help explain why 2 weeks or a week and a half after the facility was shut down, you still had new positive cases coming out over the past couple of days. Those are the things that they have to look into here. It is complicated, but they're pulling a lot of stuff. Initially it seemed like the review was going to be wrapped up at the start of this week. It's obviously now Friday. That has not yet taken place. But if violations of protocols are found, and with the player workouts, it certainly seems like you have evidence of that. You can expect discipline and potentially harsh discipline.
I know you only have like a minute or two left. I hope the NFL investigates those pedal bars around Nashville as well. Connor, what do you got?
Mr. Pelissero, if Cam is playing on Sunday, when do you think we can hear that he's actually playing?
Connor.
What's up, Tim?
You would expect to hear that close to game time. I mean, the thing we don't know with Cam Newton, because I know that it's been reported he was asymptomatic. Symptoms can develop later with COVID-19. And depending whether or not you have symptoms, that impacts the treatment protocols in terms of what all needs to take place, who needs to clear you, the passing of tests, and all those things. If it's strictly he is asymptomatic, he's got to pass 2 PCR tests 24 hours apart. That is really kind of the baseline for him being able to get back. The question just becomes, if he was first testing positive last Friday, how quickly could he get those 2 negative tests? Yeah. That's really what it boils down to. That could certainly, it is within the medical realm, and I don't have my MD on me, but it's certainly within the realm, as I understand it, that you could have somebody testing negative twice, but you're still talking about within 10 days of first testing positive. So it's going to be a tight timeline, certainly, for this week, even with the game kicked back to Monday.
All right, Tim, we appreciate you, buddy. I know you got a busy day. It's been a long week. Have a great one. Your teeth look unbelievable.
Wow.
Everybody I keep getting texts about my teeth. I think it's these lights in here. They just bounce off, or maybe it's the makeup that I haven't quite dulled down to my winter tone.
Well, you look, by the way, keep the summer tone going. It's quarantine time, baby. You do what you got to do. You look like you put one of those things that the Instagram influencers put on. It's like a tanning.
The blue light?
Yeah, it's like a tanning bed for your teeth, and you pop out on the other side. You look really good. Ladies and gentlemen.
If somebody's watching it, I'm available.
Ooh, don't sound so desperate, Tim. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Pelissero.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
See you, boys.
He's good, man.
Yeah.
He seems to have information for everything. You know, it feels like he's pretty well dialed in. There's some people I think that report and do the insiders, but then so many things come into their brain that they kind of forget it or whatever. He always has a very well thought out reason for everything, and I'm impressed by him. I mean, maybe those brain cells will disappear as he moves on, but he is good. I like when Tom Pelissero starts speaking.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask him, but
You don't?
No, I do. I completely agree. I like when he speaks. It's awesome. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about.
You wore your most absurd glasses for said question just to hear what he had to say there.
Well, these are my go-go gadget goggles, and when someone like Tim Pelissero is coming
Next. Go gadget. Boston Connor. I wish I had one of those like Mike Muters. Like for like 30 seconds. That's Tone Diggs. What you just said.
What I was originally going to ask him was, but then the Titans thing came up, was so last week when Patriots Chiefs moved from Sunday to Monday, they stuck with CBS because CBS was supposed to have the game on Sunday. This week, Broncos Patriots CBS game moves to Monday, and now Herbie and Fowler have it. So like,
yeah,
how does that work?
I wonder if ESPN was rather pissed off about CBS cucking into their Monday Night Football countdown show last week and told the NFL like, "Hey, we have Mondays, don't we?" Or there might have been like a clause in the contract that ESPN had been looking through for the last week because of the ratings potential problem with the kickdown show. And it's like, don't we have all games on Monday? I think we have. Hey, by the way.
What the hell is that?
By the way, Ray, we have every Monday game. Or maybe they just all agreed in unison that one network having them back-to-back could be good as opposed to having flipping back and forth. For me, I don't care. I'm pumped the 5 o'clock game is on. If it was on CBS, all right, cool. 5 o'clock game's awesome. But now that we have Herb Street and Fowler on Monday at 5 o'clock, let's go. Not a bad little feel-good Friday kickoff there into the weekend.
No overlap is going to be awesome,
Monday, I'm
too.
sorry. That's all. What's that?
California's getting this game at 2 o'clock. How awesome is that?
I thought about that the other night because everybody was all jacked up about that vice presidential debate, but it wasn't starting until so late. And I was like, man, why is it so late? And I was like, oh, you know what? That's the Eastern Daylight Time privilege that I have.
Yeah.
Like, hey, everything should be set for our schedule to be perfect.
Well, it should. Yeah.
Well, over there, when you go over there, though, and you take like a trip for like a week, it really fucks with you because you're like, excuse me, are you guys going to run it at the regular time, like with your time? But then on the internet, I'm already see what happens. Or are you guys running it live as is? And there's some things they run live that you just have to see earlier. And then there's some things they run at the regular time. And it's always just an interesting thing. But weather's always nice.
That's true. NFL football at 10 a.m. too. Not too shabby.
I would love that. Like those London games. Oh, when you wake up and there's a little kickoff over there. Special. Over in London town. Let's go to Big Kev in North Cal. Speaking of time zone fuckery. What's going on, Big Kev?
Yo, what's going on, Pat? I was just calling, seeing if I could represent Chiefs Kingdom a little bit on your show.
Hey, you said Case Keenum?
Chiefs Kingdom, baby.
Oh, I was about to say Case Keenum. All right, let's go ahead. Let's have a Case Keenum conversation. What do you want to talk about Chiefs Kingdom, boss? Things are looking good over there, huh?
Oh, yeah, man. I've been a fan for a long time. Still got a Derek Thomas jersey.
Okay.
Oh, way back
real
then.
fan.
Way back then.
Oh, yeah. And I was just wondering what the line is on the Chiefs going undefeated, and what do you think the odds are of Mahomes getting back-to-back Super Bowl MVP?
You know what's very interesting, Big Kev? Great question. Is especially with the uncertainty of injuries, right? Last year, what happened? He took a quarterback sneak. Somebody landed on his knee, dislocated his patella for a second. I think it's called a sublux patella as opposed to a completely dislocated patella. But I am no motherfucking doctor. He was out, though, and they had to play somebody else. That could happen at any given time. And also COVID-19, he was already dapping up somebody that had it. I mean, there are so many things that could play into the Chiefs not having Patrick Mahomes for some games, which I would assume would lead to them to potentially losing a game this season. And it feels like they haven't played their best ball. Like they have. And then there's games where it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Then they have, and then there's like, whoa, wait a minute. And they're still winning. So it doesn't matter. Winning cures all. They're undefeated. You got to do what you got to do. But I think they potentially get caught at some point. It's very difficult to go undefeated. Only one team has ever done it, right? 72 Dolphins. It's very difficult for every single game to be where you're at. Even if you're potentially one of the greatest rosters ever assembled in the history of the NFL, like the Chiefs, there's a human aspect to it. There's also a fortune act to it, an unluckiness to it, the entire thing when it comes to health. So I think for them to go undefeated, it would be great odds just because Sportsbook knows that, and everybody's automatically going to go like, yeah, we think We think they can do it. But ultimately, there's a chance that at some game they fall down. And that means nothing to the grand scheme of whether or not they're going to be in the Super Bowl contention, because let's assume that they are whenever they have to be. What's up, Tom?
I haven't seen updated, but before the season started, they were plus 2,500 to go undefeated.
Yeah, it's very difficult to go undefeated. I mean, it is very, because you got humans. It's not Madden. Now, granted, the difference between, I guess, the NFL and Madden is the NFL updates every once in a while.
Oh shit!
Holy
Come on!
shit! Can't wait to talk to Thielen about the gritty dance, which he did first, by the way. I don't think anybody's giving him credit. A lot of people said he's done it the worst, but he did do it first. But the NFL, you got humans in play there. Not everybody's going to be an 89 just because their rating's in 89. Some days they're going to be a 64, and it's going to come out of nowhere, and nobody's going to know it. So it's not as, I think fantasy football has made people think like, oh, this is how people should do. And I think people have kind of learned about people having off weeks and shit like that. But the video game mentality is like, oh, this person's a 99. Okay, that means every day they are a 99. It's like, nope, these are humans now, and they potentially will fail. But I think if any team's going to do it, let's say it's going to be the Chiefs, because there's no reason not to believe it. They are the champs, and they have yet to be beaten. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! What's up, Carter?
Well, it's not just Mahomes, too, right? Like, if they lose Kelsey, that's such a big loss where you can't replace that guy.
Tyreek?
Hill, they got Hartman, who's still got burners, but
it's not Tyreek Hill, though.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill.
That changes the offense without those two.
Tyreek Hill was supposed to be on a show one time, and he missed it, and I'm so stubborn we'll never let him back on.
No.
But
It's hard to catch that guy.
I'd be intrigued. It is very difficult, even in a phone booth. I'd be intrigued to talk to him about what it's like to know that everywhere you go, you're just more explosive than every other human around you. That has to feel pretty good for that guy.
Well, and he was working out that day, if I remember correctly. At least that's
that's what we were told.
That's the web of lies he was spinning.
Yeah, but everybody is.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's working out. Oh, I was in a big financial meeting.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Your phone died,
Let's go to Fuzzworth in Chicago. Fuzzworth. What's going on, Fuzz? What's going on, Fuzz?
Not much. How's it going?
Not too shabby. Is this real name, fake name, stage name? What do you got going on here with the Fuzz?
Real name.
Your real name is something Fuzzworth?
It's Fuzzworth.
That's your first name?
Fuzz.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, put it in the running for the name of my kid if it ever happens.
Yeah.
Old
Right?
Fuzz.
What's your last name?
Old Fuzz.
Or 7.
My last name is McAfee, obviously.
Oh, so yours would be Fuzzworth McAfee.
Yeah, mine would be.
That's how names work. Yeah.
My kid would be.
I wasn't sure if you were going to name Fuzzworth.
Fuzz worth $1 million. Fuzz worth $1 million McAfee. There it is. That really flows off the tongue. All right, thanks for the call, Fuzz.
Yeah.
See you, Fuzz.
No problem.
All right, man. Have a good day.
Oh, wait.
Classic Fuzz.
Sorry,
Classic
Sorry,
Fuzz.
What do you want to talk about, brother?
A little fuzzy over there.
Are you trying to rush me like Mac was rushing Brady last?
Good for you, man. What do you want to talk about?
I just want to talk about how Brady was celebrating the 4th win for the Bears last night at the end of the game.
Okay. Not a bad little play there by the Fuzz. Good idea. Way to look at that. I think he also wanted to talk about the chances of the Bears winning the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers playing really good football. If you're I know exactly what Chuck Pagano is saying in that building and has been saying for the last month, just because of being around Chuck and knowing him pretty well. When the entire world outside of it was talking about how they're the worst undefeated team in history, they can't do anything. They went into the end of the first quarter 3-1. Chuck was like, listen, it is not easy to win 3 games, okay? We got to keep our blinders on. We got to control the controllables, and we're only worried about what's inside. And if we win, hey, everybody can eat shit. That's really how they are winning games. This is like the Packers last year.
Yep.
Just like the Packers last year. The Packers were winning games, and it was not pretty, right? It was like very close games, ugly games, low-scoring games. Things were happening, but they just continued to win and win and win. And we talked to Aaron, and Aaron was like, everybody's talking about us having ugly wins last year. We get the NFC Championship, bad year for me, bad year for them. It's like, it doesn't matter how you win as long as you're winning. And the Bears are doing that. And I liked what Lombardi said yesterday, though. You guys had your first rushing touchdown of the season last night, week 5. It doesn't matter.
Let's
you're winning.
go, David.
Hey, you're winning, so who cares? I guess it doesn't really matter. But Michael Lombardi was like, Chicago's like a tough city. And Nagy has this innate ability to, he'll run 4 reverses to pick up a half yard as opposed to just running downhill and punching somebody in the mouth. And after the game yesterday, Nick Foles said it was a fist fight. I wonder if they're trying to like, hey, listen, this is our team. We might win ugly. We might have to do this. Let's go and get what we want to do. I think Foles is going to make Nagy make a much different offense. You saw him getting into it. I think every quarterback that talked about it was basically like Nick Foles running around a little bit of tempo so that they couldn't sub on the defensive side of the ball so they could take advantage of it. So Nagy and Foles are going to come together to to rebuild that offense, I think, in Foles' vision and Nagy's vision, they might continue to just win ugly games. But Aaron Rodgers is still in the NFC North.
Yeah, well said. I mean,
that's problematic for everybody.
Well, and as a Packers fan, you're never really worried about the Bears. They have a very good
And
defense,
as the Bears
but
fan, we don't really care about the Packers.
well, it's said from a guy who never wins the division.
Yeah, they
you
win
know?
all the time.
2 years ago.
Shit.
What's that?
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
made a good run in the playoffs.
And I
too, by the way.
believe Rodgers got hurt that year.
Yeah.
Boys, put the swords down.
It's his birthday.
Feel good. It's a feel good Friday.
Hey, I congratulated Zeke
He
first
did.
thing this morning.
Handshake and then walked away.
That's right.
Unlike,
Brady, huh?
At least you shook his hand.
Let's go to Zach in Cincinnati. What's going on, Zach?
Hey, man, how you doing? Happy Feel Good Friday, boys.
Hey, happy Feel Good
Hey,
Friday.
here you go, here you go,
Zach, what do you want to talk
here you
about?
Hey, everybody put your 4 fingers in the air.
Is it fourth quarter?
All right.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah, fourth quarter. I thought that, put the 4 fingers in the air.
Fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was going to call in and talk about how Tom's, being a stooge, but I'm going to change the record here. With the Steelers basically having half a bye week, how does the sudden routine disruption
What the
affect
fuck
the
are we
team?
holding for?
Yeah, can I put the 4 down?
Come on,
Wait,
Zach.
Take 'em back.
Zach,
Better than that.
listen, I'm no puppet, okay?
Nah.
You tell me to do something, I do it. I thought I was trying to set him up for something,
Well, the Steelers are going to be 4-0.
Explain to me why we're doing it.
Whoa.
Okay, all right, put him back up. The Steelers are going to be 4. Sorry, Zach, we didn't let you get to that. That's 100% on us. A little bit of ADD, obviously. Maybe that's what he was going to talk about. We'll talk to TJ Watt about that here in about, hour and 20-some minutes. I can't wait to talk to him about the success the Steelers have been having. Ben Roethlisberger seems to be back. But will that get slowed down because they were forced to take an early bye week because the Tennessee Titans are on those pedal bars practicing routes and getting COVID-19? That will be something we have to see. Will they stumble out the gates early, a la what they did the first game of the season when they couldn't really figure it out on the offensive side because they've had a week off, but not really a week off. They've been preparing for another team, didn't get any rest. And will that defense still be as dominant with a week off? Maybe got him healthy. Maybe got him a little bit more refreshed like a bye week does. Or maybe nothing's going to change anything. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team, much like the words of their head coach, we do not care. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see how it works. I hate that people are saying that Steelers-Eagles is going to be like a problem for the Steelers this weekend. It feels like a game that Steelers potentially win like 17-21 points by. Like they win by 17-21 points.
You can't ask me. I mean, I live in an existential state of dread all the time with that team. So
CBD-PM will knock you out.
That's
of
right.
They have a rugby player playing tackle still.
I don't know why, but everybody who has a respectable opinion has said like that Eagles-Steelers game is one to look out for. It's like, really? I don't know how anybody has seen that. They beat the 49ers that were playing, I don't know, me at quarterback, and they didn't even have any of their players other than George Kittle, who was a game changer. But other than that, I don't fully understand why people are thinking this is going to be a problem for the Steelers, especially coming off of a fake-ass bye week.
what I hate is the people who are like, big in-state rivalry. I promise you no one gives a fuck about this rivalry in the state.
Flyers, Penguins, much different
Real
than
rivalry.
Eagles, Steelers.
This is two completely different conferences. We play each other once every 4 years. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And so far away, 6 hours apart, basically. The
Long
teams.
ways.
Yeah, so it's not
Different
like
states.
it's not like there's like a run-ins, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, fuck you. It's like, no, you're basically in Indiana to us.
Yeah,
if
well
you're in
be.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, it's a
Opposite
different world.
conference.
Let's go to Will in Denver. What's going on in Mile High, pal?
Hey, just taking my daily vitamins.
Respect. I do what
Nice.
you got to do up there. What do you want to talk about, brother?
I was just thinking, do you think the Jets player is Joe Flacco? And when he got named the starter, he went out and found COVID?
Smart.
Went out and found COVID.
Spit in my mouth.
Anyone got any COVID, Robert?
Spit in my mouth. And here's Evan Foxy with some, once again, poor reporting here. He puts a picture of Joe Flacco behind the announcement of a Jets player having a presumed positive
Wow.
COVID.
Evan.
This does stink, though, because the last time that a traveling team got affected by this, it was the Patriots, and they had the COVID test, right? Or they had the COVID positive, and they had to travel day of game to have game night of against Kansas City Chiefs. So it was like they punished themselves. The Cardinals aren't sure they're hopping on a plane yet.
Yeah.
And if this gets pushed back a day, or if they have to travel out late night or whatever because they get a yes confirmed, then the Jets having COVID, potentially, we don't know if it's a false positive or not, is fucking the Cardinals who have to travel to the Jets. I mean, that is... Hey, they said it in July. When it comes to COVID stuff, we do not care about competitive fairness. We got to get through this season. We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, the Bills Mafia I saw was already complaining on the internet because their game now against the Chiefs now have an extra day to prepare versus the Bills, so they're already drumming up those.
Shut up. They should be, no, they should be. Bills Mafia should be upset about anything they want. They should be upset about the lack of respect for Josh Allen that has been said by people who speak into microphones. I mean, what's that?
Allen's like, what, second in MVP right now?
He's in the MVP conversation.
Rodgers and him.
No, I will not even let you name other names. Josh Allen is in the MVP conversation. What about Russell Wilson? You hate Russell Wilson?
Well,
Wow.
here's the thing about Russell Wilson. You
Wow.
know, look who he's throwing to. Josh Allen's throwing to basically nobody.
Cole Beasley, Jesus
Wow.
Christ.
Stephon Diggs,
right
pretty
there.
good.
Stephon Diggs, I think, has the most deep balls in the league.
Yeah, because of Josh Allen.
Okay, let's go to Joe in Jersey. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, what's happening, guys? Happy Feel Good Friday.
Hey, happy Feel Good Friday to you too, Joe. What do you want to talk about?
Just want to say real quick, happy birthday to Zito as well.
Happy birthday, Zito. By the way, Joe doesn't want to say it, but happy birthday to Gumpy.
Happy birthday, Gumpy. I was going to say happy birthday to Gumpy and Zito's woman as well.
Thank you. Whoa.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Yikes. Whoa.
His lady?
Take it easy, dude.
Slow down. Put some pants. His woman is his woman is a bit.
Feel Good Friday here.
So much.
Yeah, lady is much better, I think.
Lady, I'm sorry.
Was it Coco's birthday?
Oh, the 3rd, yeah. The 5th, yeah.
Zito with one.
Fumble recovery.
Yeah.
Fumble recovery.
Maybe. We don't know. You could still be wrong. What do you want to talk about, Joe? Ball is on the ground.
I live right outside of Philly, and Steelers by 50 right off the bat. But I got a question that I have to have solved with me and my buddy. We're arguing right now over if Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer in the NFL. Not.
Your answer is no. Let's go to Drew in South Carolina. What's going on, Drew? I don't think he is. I mean, he'll get in. He'll get in at some point. Right, he'll get in at some point. Yeah, because his stats. There'll be stats that'll be able to get him. He won't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So my no is the first ballot Hall of Famer for Matt Ryan. But I do believe at some point he'll be an old man and he gets in because of his stats and he'll be able to paint the picture in a fashion. But I do not think he's a first, second, third ballot Hall of Famer. Fourth, maybe fifth, sixth. There's so you got it. Whenever you start talking about the Hall of Fame and all the names just start popping up of who else could potentially get in. I mean, to get in there, you have to be a dude. You have to be the dude. You have to be now granted, they opened it up a little bit more, and I know some of the Hall of Famers were not happy about that because more people are getting in, and it's our fraternity, our team, or whatever. But once you see the names that are up for it, it's really hard to go like, oh yeah, that guy was unbelievable, but that motherfucker. Yeah. It's like it's a very difficult thing. What do you want to talk about, Drew, real quick?
First of all, I want to congratulate Zito's Bears for getting that dub last night.
Appreciate that.
Well, I'm a huge Pats fan, and so I'm kind of curious if we're going to cover the spread against the Broncos, and who will be the X factor for the game.
Great question. I have no idea what's going to happen in that game. Nobody has a clue. Is Cam Newton playing?
Nope. Don't know.
If Cam Newton's playing, very different world than if the Wild Hoyer is playing or Stidham is playing. And also, by the way, for the Patriots and for the Patriots.
Denver
Broncos. Broncos. Sorry, geez, just slipped my mind there. For the Broncos, they have two very different game plans for if Cam Newton's playing. So I think predicting that game is very difficult until at least Monday, which, by the way, we will do. Yeah. So we have big games coming up here. In hour 2, we'll talk to Adam Thielen. We'll break down the games coming up this weekend. We'll take some more phone calls. I mean, it's a feel-good Friday. And in the third hour, we have a guy joining us in studio. His name's Chase. He's a big fan. He's going through some stuff. He'll be sitting on the couch next to Zito, so that's a shame. He's going to have to smell those feet. Can't wait to chat with him. And TJ Watt. Big Feel Good Friday on deck. Go to the bathroom, take a leak, take a shit. We'll see you on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show on Sirius XM.
Look, I don't understand the whole legal gambling thing. I've been gambling illegally my whole life. I don't get what you mean by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Dude, illegal gambling is done. It stinks. Legal gambling is the greatest thing of all time. FanDuel Sportsbook has so many good bets. They even refund bets that they think didn't deserve to lose. They got all the spreads. They got same game parlays. You have to start gambling on FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal state. And That's not the only thing. They make it so easy to withdraw and deposit money. You can just link your bank, deposit whatever you want, withdraw whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yes,
I mean, this
please.
truly is the greatest sports gambling app out there.
He's right about the banking. It is the greatest, but you really don't understand the bets that this sports book has. They have in-game bets. They have in-game parlays, and he said it, but I'm going to say it again. The odds at this place are the best. And once you download FanDuel Sportsbook, we are going to take all of their money. All of their money. Right? 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 FanDuel! 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 FanDuel!
Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you.
sure.
Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh, no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches. Cut the music. Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys.
By the way, that's for you, brother. Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come up front door.
What's up, dude?
What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you. Oh my. Oh yeah, it is the bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in it. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. Oh, $50,000 in it. Oh my God. Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000 in there.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
Throw it back. Oh man. Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
We did it?
Couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, it's a fuck ton of money.
You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
And you should know those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So, Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration, because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office, and we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth.
go. There's this place.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Feel Good Friday, October 9th, 2020. Hour 2 kicks off right meow. Adam Thielen will be joining us in about 22 minutes to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, the Minnesota Vikings. First couple weeks weren't great. Looked like a bad football team then. They beat the Houston Texans and bye-bye Bill O'Brien. Have the Minnesota Vikings figured it out? Remember, last year at the beginning of the season, they were having similar problems. The offense wasn't playing up to snuff. They were upset, blah, blah, blah. They weren't winning as much. Now, are they going to turn the corner? Adam Thielen, also a man who can hit a 3-wood, 340 yards. I watched it with my own eyes. Adam Thielen, sneaky athletic, lunch pail guy, first guy in, last guy out, coach's son, knows every play. He's a guy who also was the first person to do the gritty in the NFL, which has taken the world by storm. We'll talk to him about all that and more. Remember, Adam Thielen, a man who'll be joining us in about 21 minutes here, had to pay money to go to a regional combine to get scouted to eventually get signed to the Vikings. The little white dude who can run fast and is tough as hell and incredibly athletic got looked over by everybody, just signed a deal with the team from the state that he's from. He's living a good life. Let's hope their team will continue to be successful this year, because losing sucks. And I like talking to Thielen. Thielen can't come on the show, won't come on the show when they're losing. So when they're winning, he comes on the show. I like that. Let's continue those types of things. All the boys are here at Tone Diggs, at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt, at Viva Lazito. One day before his birthday is here. His big old poll of the day, which seems to be a bit opportunistic and leading journalism at Viva Lazito. What is it?
Biggest poll on the internet right now. Actually, no big deal.
Really?
No big deal. Let's not make a big deal about it. Who will have a more successful 2020 season, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? Right now, Tom is losing 31.1% and obviously 68%.
I will say you can vote on this poll at Viva Lazito's Twitter account. Only 7,200 votes. Not really that big of a poll.
As much juice as I thought.
Yeah, not much juice.
Just 1 hour up. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, so you're saying other polls have multiple hours?
Yeah, you know.
And don't have as many votes is what you're saying? Yeah.
Hour to vote.
Yeah.
I'm going to say over 200,000 votes a week. No big deal.
Whoa! Is there a poll larger than Viva Lazito's? I will say
Nick Foles, maybe.
Maybe. Big poll, Nick Foles.
Why not?
Wow. Because that
you can actually say that
is much better than saying,
yeah.
You see, because at some point, you know, people get upset that we say certain words in here.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Like what?
Well, like, you know the words. I mean,
Which
people
ones,
do.
though?
You know the words. The fuck word is always one. Isn't always respected or loved by the old whites at the beginning of our relationship here. Don't hear about it as much. Still get some people to tweet that, sports talk doesn't need swear words. Well, Will Smith didn't have to curse to sell records. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying. There's different ways to talk about the same thing. One a little bit more free than others, and we, practice the free one, which has gotten me in trouble, by the way. Whenever I am contributing on ESPN, I said "roll some bitch tide" last week on game day, and boy, they couldn't bleep it because I talked too fast, and there was a lot of people that were upset that their kids were watching, and they had to explain what "some bitch" is. And that's not something I want to do. I don't have any kids, obviously. But big poll, Nick Foles is a lot easier. I mean, go ahead and explain that. What does that mean? Well, he does voting things like Zito does.
Make sure you vote.
He can make sure you vote.
Rock the vote. Rock the vote.
And since we just said that, by the way, we know you're going to vote.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Is that not the least self-aware grandstanding shit on the internet right now?
Sure. It might be up there.
Well, how are people going to know to do it if they don't put that stuff
if
out?
every human...
I wouldn't even know there's an election if they didn't tell me to vote.
Go vote.
Tom Pelissaro just tweeted something about COVID rules. He was just on our show. He could have done this on a show. He chose to do it on his Twitter, which I kind of respect, actually. Tom Pelissaro tweets, NFL Senior VP of Officiating, Perry Fulf, informed clubs in a memo today that any individual who approaches an official without a face covering is subject to a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, as well as possible fines, suspensions, and forfeitures of draft picks. Now, listen, the NFL has been very stern about mandates in the protocols being followed to a T. I'm being told by people, I don't know if this information is getting out publicly or if I'm supposed to know this stuff. There are 3 NFL officials walking around every facility with a clipboard as if they're hall monitors to tell the NFL and to tell people if humans are too close to each other, don't have the mask above their nose, below their chin. It is really a mask check, a mandate check, 3 randoms walking around facilities at all time. The NFL is now allowed to tap into everybody's surveillance cameras, both inside NFL buildings and outside NFL buildings. This is becoming V for Vendetta, a full police state, and it's because the NFL can't have this season not go forward. The Tennessee Titans situation, not a good one. The Patriots situation with their 2 best players, not a great one. Now the Jets are potentially jeopardizing a game with the Arizona Cardinals. You got games on Tuesday now, you got games on Sunday, and the NFL is just adding more and more rules because they can say this is for player safety, which is always the issue that comes up during negotiating with the NFLPA. The NFLPA is probably not happy about the 3 people walking around the facility. Who are they getting tested? Who are they for the team? Or maybe do they have a fanhood somewhere else and they're allowed to do whatever? I mean, there is a lot of things that go into this, but everybody's just trying to get through the season. And I always found it very intriguing here the first couple weeks that the NFL refs all have masks on, okay? Then when they get into a group to talk to each other, they all take the mask off because it's hard to communicate with the mask on, which is why head coaches and play callers have really struggled with it, because when you have a mask on, your voice doesn't come out as clear. And in those high pressure moments, let's not have maybe a miscommunication be a full fuck up here for us. So the refs take it down, and then whenever they walk away, they put it back up, or the ref who makes the call has it hang off his face or whatever. Then I saw a lot of moments where players were asking refs, and the refs would take their mask off to answer the player and then put the mask back on. And I was like, well, that's very interesting. What's the purpose of the mask if the only time you take it off is whenever you're around other people, which is the mask is supposed to be for when you are around other people and not really for when you're standing off down in the corner figuring out whether or not somebody's 2 feet got in the ground or not. It's all very interesting. Now the officials, I assume, which are a little bit older, by the way, the NFL officials are a little bit older, and I'm not 100% sure what they're doing. Are they buying in full time, locking themselves in their houses all year? I would assume that the NFL officials weren't exactly thrilled after watching the film about how it's all gone, and they're probably striking down on them as well. This is a very interesting time because communication is a big deal. And believe it or not, coaches have been chewing out refs since the beginning of refs. And players have been asking refs a lot of questions and potentially chewing out refs since the beginning of refs. And the best refs are the ones that chirp back, by the way. Those are the best refs. Now, they have to get out of that. They have to remain masked up, even if you can't understand what I'm saying, which could potentially move this conversation along much quicker in a much less dramatic fashion. We have to mask up because of safety for you and for me, because we know nothing about COVID-19.
Are they doing this just so the coaches stop arguing? Because even when they do argue, it's not as if they pick up a flag or change a call. So.
I think it's the players.
Yeah, they're saying the players can't be
It's
around.
the players.
Okay.
Because the players will go ask a question to the ref whenever they call something, right? Because you get like a tendency for each refs when you go into the game, okay? Like each crew. Like, hey, this crew can't get handsy with this crew. This crew, which, by the way, it feels like they're throwing a lot more flags right now. Yeah. Started out the season not throwing any. Had to be egregious, basically, was the decision because there was no offseason. Let's let these refs get back into playing shape or whatever. So let's not be making ridiculous. Now it feels like they're back to the same old flag-happy operation they got going on, which isn't great for the game. I think everybody liked it earlier. But if players are making penalties, they got to call it. And by the way, if not, let's make sure the refs know that they are not the game. But I have a lot of respect for refs because nobody is pulling for them, okay? They either make fans by screwing somebody else over or lose fans by screwing over a team. I mean, nobody's pulling for them. It's a hard gig. But players often want to know, like, hey, what are you going to call? Like, I would assume pitchers want to know where the strike zone is for the day with the umpire. Mm-hmm. Like, for players, there's a lot of conversations happening with the refs, and the players don't have masks on the field. So now they're saying, basically, players on the field don't talk to the refs at all, which is interesting because I think there's a lot of clarification that potentially happens in those quick conversations, but can't do it because you make eye contact contact or get a response from a ref that is accurate and efficient, that'll cause COVID-19.
I mean, doesn't this just go back to, like, I assume that no refs have COVID and are reffing, and, like, all the players that are on the field supposedly don't have COVID?
But the Stephon Gilmore.
True.
That's the issue, is the incubation period that has allegedly happened here with Stephon Gilmore, where COVID-19 got drunk in his body, went missing, and then was like, shit, get me out of here, and then bang, failed a test 3 days later. So I think that is something that's very interesting, and that's probably why you're seeing a lot more. It's like, we could potentially have people getting negative tests who have COVID now. Then what do we know about the test? Should we invest in different tests? Because if it can't pop up, it's like the pregnancy test for a long, long time. People couldn't find out until like 3 months in. Then they made the test better and better and better. We're at the beginning of this COVID thing. You would think that there would potentially be the best degree of testing that there is, but I think the Stephon Gilmore case is one that has proven that maybe the tests aren't 100% efficient in the operating process.
I just don't like the idea of this potentially, like, really screwing a team over and deciding games, because isn't this force of habit? Like you said, like, players aren't just immediately going to be like, okay, I can't go approach the ref. Like, this is going to happen several times.
They're going to yell. So the refs are going to be, what was the rules? Within 15 feet, is that what they said? 15-yard penalty who approaches an official without a face covering. So you're going to see players yelling at refs, which is awesome. And we'll probably hear what they're saying, by the way. So normally these conversations that could potentially be inside voices now have to be outside voices. And if you yell too loud, though, remember, COVID will yodely out and then come down the gator that they're potentially
Wilson deep ball.
You know what I mean? It'll jump onto the ladder and climb down into the mouth. So we're going to, maybe they yell down as opposed to potentially projecting the COVID up and in. Got to kind of shoot it down. But we're going to hear those conversations now, I believe, especially with the lack of fans in some places.
If they're yelling,
you fucking stink.
I mean, that'll be awesome.
Hell yeah. These are going to be awesome. These are going to be awesome. The conversations we are going to hear now, because they're not allowed to approach them and they have to yell at them, are going to be awesome. How is that? You didn't call the same thing 2 minutes ago. All the things that fans think, you're going to hear a lot of players, I think, say the same thing, because normally those are little inside conversations that are happening as they walk by each other, but it's very interesting. We have a follow-up here from Tom Pelissaro. Fuel's memo references multiple head coaches removing masks and says game officials have been reminded if an individual not wearing a face covering approaches them inappropriately, they have the authority to take the administrative or officiating action, including penalties. So they're saying coaches there, so maybe it's just cool with players. Like, players are allowed to go yell at them, but I think the reason why they're doing this is because a player had it that passed a test in Stephon Gilmore. This is intriguing.
Yesterday, BA, there was a bad call against the Bucs, and he was standing right next to a ref, and he was actually pretty good every time I saw him. He had his mask on. But when they made a bad call, he turned to the ref and pulled it down.
BA is the best.
Yeah.
I saw BA chew out high school officials that were calling our practices at the Colts. Like, you have college refs come in and get some reps. But the teams, and I'm assuming they're not doing that this year because you can't trust anybody to come in. But Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have, maybe high school refs that come in and call things. College refs come in. Here in Indianapolis, we got a lot of Big Ten refs that live here, MAC refs that live here. But I've heard other places they have high school refs come in so they can get some reps, and the team can have officials during different drills and stuff like that. I watched BA dissect this guy on a 3rd and 7 drill or whatever on Thursday. In this rep, never saw him again. Never saw him. Never came back.
Quit.
But you would have thought that the Super Bowl was lost because of that. And BA is just like, hey, everybody's got to be held accountable, baby. Everybody. Hey, if you fuck me over, I need to let you know because that is my duty as a coach, basically. But whenever BA gets going, he is like Bob Ross painting what he says to these refs.
Ooh.
I've had a couple encounters with refs, by the way. Those replacement refs, They and I had a couple moments because this came up last night. They had a QB ball in on 4th down instead of a K ball because they panicked, forgot that they were supposed to get a K ball in until there was like 13 seconds left on the play clock. And Overton was holding the ball and looks back at me and he goes, "This is a QB ball." So I go, "Hey, bud, we got to get a K ball in there." And they go, "We don't have time." I was like, "Just reset the play clock. This is, hey, bud, no big deal. Just reset the play clock." And they just stopped talking to me, put the whistle in their mouth. And I'm like, you don't even know that you just fucked me probably out of 8 to 9 yards here. Yeah. And you don't even have a clue. And the difference between a K ball and a QB ball, by the way, it all came to be, I believe it was Minnesota Vikings punter or kicker from West Virginia. I forget who it was back in the day. Anyways, some punter and kicker, they would beat up a ball so much, and they were all in the same, they were just game balls, basically. QB ball, kicker balls, punter balls, they were all the same. So the quarterbacks would put a bunch together, and then the kickers would put a bunch together. And that's back whenever you hear the stories of them, like, getting the balls drenched and then putting them in a dryer, and and these balls would be as big as, like, a rugby ball, and they would be massive. That's why every stat that you hear from a certain couple of years when they learned how to game the ball is very interesting when it comes to kickers and punters, because these balls were just basically balloons sent to go. Ooh. Allegedly, one game, in a primetime game, one of the massively beat up balls that was meant for the kickers got tossed in as a quarterback ball. Quarterback, I think it was Brett Favre, ball slipped out of hand through pick 6 or something like that. Loses game. Brett Favre gets very pissed off. I'm not 100% sure if it was Brett Favre gets very pissed off. Next year, there's a K-ball rule now. So now the quarterbacks are allowed to bring in their own balls. Like, you're allowed to work with them through the week, do whatever you want to do with them. It doesn't matter. I mean, granted, there's probably some guys that like it a little bit softer, maybe.
But some guys like it a little more inflated.
Some like them a little bit more inflated. Some people like them a little bit more beat up. Some like them new and tacky. So the quarterbacks are like, hey, whatever you bring your own balls in. And I'd sat in on a meeting where our equipment managers and Matt Hasselbeck went through this 100 balls. And I think he had to pick like 15 for the game or whatever. And the equipment managers would toss it to Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck would take the ball and act as if this is it. And he would take the ball, he'd catch it, and he'd go, okay, and he'd move his thumb like this to see if it was good. Then he would flip the ball, and he'd move his thumb, then he'd flip it again, and then he'd do it again, and then he would throw it yes or no thing, right? And it was kind of intriguing, and I just so happened to be like held hostage in this thing. He wins. So the next week, I'm just hanging out. Hasselbeck goes, hey, need you in the game ball thing. And I'm like, what do you, he was like, you were in last week, right? I was like, yeah. He was like, we won. So let's go. And this is like a 30-minute process. Like, this is so, I said, we went on like a 5-game win streak. So for 5 games, I'm in this thing and I'm learning about the entire process, right? And I'm like looking at balls before he gets them. And I'm like, I think this one's going to be good. He's like, it was good. Good call. And then I was like, oh, I think this one's bad. And he was like, no, it's good. Probably our best ball, actually. I'm like, I don't have it yet. So I sat in those meetings. That was the first time I'd ever been a part of that. It was kind of cool to see that whole thing come about, because K-balls at one point, immediately after that flub of the ball being too fat and throwing the pick in prime time and it changing, they would take them straight out of the box. Nobody was allowed to touch them, and then they were just put into the game. So kickers, you're not allowed to do anything to the football, and guys were not happy. I mean, because a brand new football is basically rock hard. So guys' averages went down. You're talking about kicks being missed back in the day they didn't expect. And I think that was back when the kickoff was at the 32. So you had kickoffs landing at like the 15, the 10, and guys were like, this is just a nightmare, let alone when it's cold, a brand new ball, which is rock hard, and it's cold. It almost becomes like a like one of those chocolate shelled ice creams where, you know, it's hard on the outside, but if you break the shell, it's like very soft. So those brand new, like in eclair, those brand new balls, when they get cold, that's exactly what they are. It's like a frozen outside, but the part that you really want to penetrate on the inside is super soft. So because it's cold, so it loses air. So it's like it was basically a nightmare for kickers. So the kickers and punters bitch or whatever, they run up the thing, and then they instituted a K-ball rule. And the new K-ball rule is basically there's 7 balls. Equipment managers from both teams get 30 minutes with the balls before the game while being watched by an NFL official. Okay, so for instance, we have a guy, equipment manager, he's the man, named Frog, legendary dude, and he took a lot of pride in his work. He would go in there for 30 minutes with the other equipment manager that the other team would send in there, and he would have a brush. You're only allowed a brush. I think you're allowed a bottle of water, and you have 30 minutes, okay? So he would come out, by the way, dripping in sweat, dripping in sweat. The other equipment manager, dripping in sweat. And every single Christmas, Vinatieri and I would have a very large gift to this man's house because he helped us out a lot. Yeah. And there'd be some teams where their equipment manager wouldn't buy in as much for the 30 minutes. So Frog would basically just be like, I'll get the first 2, because then after that, the game balls would be numbered 1 through 7. And you're only going to rotate probably the first 3 balls. 1 ball is the game ball, but there's a chance that it either gets lost, house, punt return, goes to anything like that. So then you have numbers 1, 2, 3. And I don't think I've ever seen ball 4 in the game unless it was Walt Anderson in fucking England. And that guy just screwed me over there. But that's the entire process. So whenever last night they had a K-ball in, they had to get the K-ball out. That K-ball is very different than a quarterback ball. And the quarterback ball has been worked all week and brought to the game by the team. The K-ball was only brought out of a box like 45 minutes before the game started, and the equipment managers only had 30 minutes with it. But there were some places where we talked to the kicker and punter, like going into the game, and they're like, our guy's bad or whatever. We're like, okay, tell your guy that our guy, good.
Legit.
Like, hey, let our guy go to work. But back in the day, there was a little gamesmanship from people where they would somehow talk the ball boy into throwing ball 5 out there if it was like a late game winner or something like that. I do believe there's a chance that the guy who got yelled at by Peyton Manning had somebody do that one time and had somebody like toss out ball 6 for a game winner. Yeah, so there's little gamesmanship in that, but I think we're at the point now where everybody's like 1 through 3. So when everybody was talking about like, the K-ball, what is that? What is this? Is this like another Deflategate thing? It's like, no, it's actually the complete opposite. Because, and that's why when the Deflategate thing happened, people are asking me like, what is the ball soft or whatever? It's like, I have no fucking idea. Dude, I don't touch it. I'm only with the K-balls, dog. And I will tell you, in the past, I had heard that there was some things with the K-balls up there in New England, but not Gostkowski. Gostkowski and Vinatieri, we have a lot of respect, but I guess way back, there was potentially a little bit of games.
So you and Vinny then use the same K-balls, and do punters and kickers like the same type of ball?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody likes the same ball. Just get that thing beat up. I think I tweeted the other day that when you're a kicker, there's a couple rules or whatever, and one of them was a beat up ball is awesome. Like you can see if like at the combine they give guys brand new balls. I was not invited to the combine, but I'll tell you what, if I was invited to the combine, like maybe year 5 going into that thing, and they tossed me that ball, I would say, yeah, I would never fucking kick this. I'm not gonna do the rep. But the young guys can't say that or whatever. But it is a very big thing. Matt Stover, whenever he came to the Colts, he liked brand new balls. He was like, I want to make it as hard as I can in practice. I want it to be easy in a game, you know. I want to kick into the wind. And I was like, oh, not me, dog. Like,
no thanks.
I want to see the ball go in the hoop. Like I want to see, I would like the most beat up ball possible, actually. I want to see this thing fly. I want the corked bat and I want this ball flying. And by the way, I understand there's a chance we're going to kick into the wind, and we do have to work on that. But let's take a majority with the wind so that I can be like, hey, I'm kicking the ball further than any human on earth. That's how I am. Matt Server was like, well, that's not the way I do it or whatever. So we had 2 very different opinions on that. And I know there's a lot of kickers that do. I'm always a, hey, let's succeed and have a great motherfucking time type guy. And I loved Frog for that. I mean, amongst other things, the equipment managers are awesome. But him coming out just sweating. Like, for instance, there was a year where me and Vinny were Pro Bowl. We were going to the Pro Bowl, right? But we had like 3 weeks left. So Vinny couldn't miss any, and I had to keep balling. And you could tell, like, when Frog went in there and came out, he was like, hey, we're going to make Pro Bowl this year. He's like, yeah, we are. Hey, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. There's a game inside of a game happening there.
I feel like the NFL should, like, film these and, like, put it out.
Well, the thing is, like, I asked him, I was like, so is the person just standing like right behind you? What's going on? They go into a bathroom and the person just stands at the door and literally just watches them in there. He said some places it's like 95, 100 degrees in there and they're just like sweating, just like dying. I'm like, well, I want to let you know, I appreciate you for doing it. I appreciate you.
We gotta throw one of those balls in the dryer and blow it up and have you pump one of those.
I've never kicked a ball that has had that. But I remember Mike Nugent when he was kicking in Ohio State. I was a fan because he was a super hyped kicker. This guy's a stud. And by the way, was a stud for a long time. I think he's still kicking right now. But they zoomed in on a kickoff ball he had, and one of the laces was like popped off. And I was like, this motherfucker got to be bombing balls. Because Pat White, in college, they don't have the K-ball rule. So I had to go with whatever Pat White used. And the ball that we used was just maybe the worst ball to kick in the history of anything. And there was a couple games where Pat didn't ask them to be softer, but maybe it was cold or something. And it was like third quarter, and the one ball has just been sitting there. And they tossed it to me for a kickoff, and I just grabbed it, and I felt it. I was like, I mean, can we look out for me just one fucking time? Can I get maybe one full ball in the rotation? And then I quickly remembered, no, like
you can't,
because if our offense is good, we're good. And I'm like, yep, you're right. I'll just ride these coattails and kick the shit out of these flat balls. Hell
yeah.
Hell yeah. 26 minutes into the hour. By the way, kickers don't like flat balls. So a lot of people think like, if you get a softer ball, it'd be easier to kick. No. Complete opposite, actually. Harder the ball, thing goes further. Now, you have to have a strong leg, obviously. If you have a weak leg, you want it to be flat because then you can penetrate it and make it explode off of your foot, which is ultimately what you're doing. But if you have a strong leg and that thing is tightly wound, and you can penetrate that in there, that son of a bitch is exploding off your foot as if it was a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that you're catching with. So there's a couple misperceptions. The long snappers in the NFL are in control of the laces. You want a hard ball, but a broken-in ball. And then you just want to close your eyes and swing as hard as you fucking can. All right, we got to get to a break. Adam Thielen is on the other side. I assume he could have been a kicker or punter if he wanted to. Freak athlete from the Minnesota Vikings. This is Friday, October 9th, 2020. The Pat McAfee Show on Sirius XM. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because
I know where you're going, and I think I got something to support it.
I wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because when you look up the numbers, it seems like the better football team, okay? But then the ticket situation happened, and the lines went from 5.5 to 3.5, so I'm staying away from the side. I am taking another fucking under tonight, okay?
Tony, let me tell you something.
You go first, and then I'll tell you why I'm taking the under.
It's no fun.
Prime time.
I love it.
Games
losing,
this
though.
year
I don't care.
are 8-6 to the under.
8-6 the under. Okay. Let me tell you something. Chicago's defense, number 5 in opponent's point per play. Number 7 opponent yard per play. Number 3 in opponent third down conversions. Number 1 in opponent red zone scoring.
Oh, that's a problem.
Number 6 in opponent yards per pass, and number 7 overall in DVOA on defense. Tampa's defense, number 4 in opponent yards per play, number 10 in opponent third down conversion, number 9 in opponent red zone scoring, number 2 in opponent yard per rush, and number 2 in all total defensive DVOA. 39% of the tickets are on the under, 70% of the money's on the under. Tony Diggs, Tony Unders is on the under 44.5 tonight.
Good for you, Tony.
Good for me.
Good for you making a bet on Thursday night.
Babe.
Zito sent
This
video,
is
dude.
awesome.
A fucking cat falls from 6 stories and lands on this dude's head and knocks him out.
But
lands on its feet.
Best part.
And then this fucking, and then
the dog
Is that
wearing
dog wearing
shoes?
Jordans?
Yes,
and his bud, and then this dog wearing Jordans finds the cat and fucking tries to fucking box it for falling on this dude's head.
That guy dead?
That guy dropped like a sack of bricks.
Yeah, is he dead?
A cat fell on him from 6 stories, Gumpy.
That guy weighed 20 pounds.
Fucking broke his
Did that
neck.
cat scalp him?
Spinal fluid leaking into his.
Oh, yeah, you can see him go lifeless. He is dead.
And then the dog reprimands the cat. I mean, it really is good to see this animal.
For some reason, the dog is wearing Jordans.
I've never seen somebody
It's Air
drop
Bud.
like that in my life.
It is Air Bud.
Well, the dog investigates the corpse. He determines the cause of death.
Sucker.
And his tail's wagging as he's walking up to the guy, too.
Who did this?
What, bitch?
Yeah, I fell on that motherfucker.
That's wild.
You know what? Can anyone around here help this guy out? I mean, you're standing next to this guy, and it looks like someone point blank shoots him in the head with a shotgun, and people just keep walking.
Doing it for the brand. It's the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Feel Good Friday, October 9th, 2020. We're being joined now by a man who can hit a 3-wood 375 yards. A man who had to pay his way into a workout to inevitably end up on the Minnesota Vikings. A man who is the first person in the history of the NFL to do the gritty as a celebration dance. Ladies and gentlemen, wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings. First guy in, last guy out, coach's kid, lunch pail kind of guy, crafty athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Thielen.
Yeah! What's up?
Man, we've missed you over here. I'm going to be honest. How have you been?
Well, I've been great, but, I've been a little sad that it's taken this long to get back on your show.
Well,
every week I see Rodgers on there every single week. And I can't even get a call for it's almost like I feel like we had such a good time talking last time. And then I feel like the girlfriend that you never call back, that's all.
Oh, no, don't feel that way. What you should feel like is the friend who had an abundance of fun, almost an overdose of fun the last time we talked. And then the friend saw you in a situation where, maybe it's not the right time for this guy to display the amount of fun we're probably going to have again because the team isn't playing as great as they potentially could be. Then you guys get a big win. And it's like, hey, time to get the fun out. Now we are back. Let's do it. So that's where we stand, Adam. And
okay.
As a guy now for the Minnesota Vikings, a staple of the organization at this point, you guys get a big win. What is the mindset now? Like, hey, that is what we are. Okay, that is what we know we can be. You do the gritty. I do the gritty. We do the gritty. And we just keep on winning with gritty Kirk Cousins. What is the mindset going forward? And I feel like you guys were potentially in a similar spot last year mental-wise, and then you guys figured it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, it's just making sure we're still having fun. Like you said, it's hard when you're losing to have fun, but we want to make sure that we were still going out there. We were playing the sport that we love and having fun doing it, whether win, lose, regardless. Go out there and have fun. And I think you see that. You see a bunch of guys that are just going out there. They love to play. They love to compete. And it doesn't really matter what our record is. We're going to still go out there, have fun, and try to do our job to the best of our ability.
And I think the thing about fans is whenever you lose early, you can obviously lose a little bit of hope or be pissed off about it. For players, there's another game coming. So it's not like hey, we can worry and let this ruin our life type thing. We have to get ready for the next one. For you, Justin Jefferson's in there, young guy. It looks like you two have really bonded well. Has the offense come together here? The departure of Stephon Diggs, do you feel like without the preseason, without a chance for the young guy to kind of buy in there, it was a little bit of a problem on the field, not off the field, but on the field, and now you guys are kind of catching your groove? Or has that just been something that was immediate from the jump as soon as he got there, everything's good?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, credit to him. He's kind of came in here on fire since he got here, shown that he belongs, that he's ready to play. And we were just kind of waiting for, his opportunity to see what he can do. But yeah, obviously it's different with no preseason games, no OTAs. That's huge, obviously, being able to come in and get comfortable with everything. But, obviously it doesn't take him much time because he's lighting it on fire and he's having fun doing it. That's what I love most about him is he's always got a smile on his face. He's never complaining. Even the first couple of weeks when he wasn't getting a lot of opportunity, he had a smile on his face, come to work every day. And I enjoy being around people like that.
I would assume he introduced you to the gritty? Or did you
He did. No,
yeah.
He did.
Yeah. I saw that first touchdown when he came running over, and I saw you directly look at him and start doing it, and he was all excited. That was a really cool moment, I think, that I saw from the outside looking in about team camaraderie. I was like, that's a really cool moment between those two. Old, young guy, same world. We're all happy we succeeded here.
That's right. I've seen him do it in college, and then, since he got here, he's always doing it. So I told him, anytime I'm in the end zone, I'm going to be doing your dance. So he allowed me to use his dance. So I'm not very good at it, but I have fun doing it.
I was about to say, have you heard the internet say that you are the worst gritty? I don't know if you deserve that at this point.
Well, yeah, and no excuses, right? But I will say, in practice, I'm unbelievable at it. And then the lights are on me, and the cameras, and I'm all juiced up, So it gets a little out of rhythm, but hopefully I can master it one of these days.
Hey, bring that heart rate down a little bit. Hey,
That's what it was. I'm like too juiced up. That's what I told him. And then, who knows what happens after that.
Well, you got to do what you got to do when you're in the zone. You are currently in the middle of a run, 8 games, with most consecutive games with 100 yards receiving. That's unbelievable. You're tied with – no, he's not.
Before.
Before.
He has the NFL record for most games with 100 yards.
So he's not in the middle of it right now. Why don't you get back to that then? What are we doing right now?
That's a long time ago, man. That's like when I was like in the 20s.
Well, let's talk about you and Kirk then. Let's talk about you and Kirk's relationship. Okay, let's talk about you and Kirk Cousins, because last year there was a moment, everybody saw it. We all talked about it. I think we even talked to you about it. Then the Kirk Cousins show happened. And then obviously Kirk Cousins goes down to Jerry World and he becomes primetime Kirk Cousins. Then you get a playoff win against the Saints, and everybody's like, okay, Kirk Cousins has gotten the monkey off of his back, what everybody said. Then this offseason, just a couple weeks ago, he comes out and says, if I die, I die. And I'm like, this feels like a Kirk Cousins that is a different Kirk Cousins than I would have expected. What is this year's Kirk Cousins? How is your relationship with him, and how does he feel day in, day out with the team that you guys have right now?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Most people don't know. Like you said, everybody kind of has this vision of who Kirk is, but he's totally different. He's a fun guy to be around. Again, you talk about Justin, how much fun he has, and Kirk's that same guy. Always mess around, joke around, and then you see him on the field, and he's a totally different person because he's locked in. He's focused. It's hard to get him off his out of his focus when you try to make him laugh, but he doesn't really give you much on the field. But yeah, he's a fun guy to be around. Obviously, he's a great leader to have in the locker room because he's the same Kirk every single day. Whether we're losing, whether he's getting just killed on the internet or by the fans, things like that, he's the same guy. He's preparing. He's ready to go. He's ready to lead this team and help us win games.
And when you're sitting there and you're seeing what's going on with the Titans, and you're seeing what's going on with the Patriots, and you're sitting there and you're seeing what's going on with the Jets allegedly this morning, it feels like even if you guys have it all locked down in there, and I've heard there's humans walking around writing down names if you don't have your mask on, and they're like watching the surveillance cameras, and there's certain ways you can do this and do that. You can't eat with people and all this. I mean, it's wild shit you guys are going through right now. But when you see this happen with other teams, is there any mindset that we can get it all right and we can still potentially get affected by this, like the Steelers got last week with the early bye week out of nowhere because the Titans couldn't travel to play?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of just, taking it day by day because you really just don't know what's going to happen. You try to, do your best ability to follow the rules and do all that. So, you hope that you don't get in your own team in that situation. But yeah, we have a mask force, we call them, around the building that is just looking for people without their mask on or having them on correctly. So that's been interesting, but it is what it is.
So what do? It's like a hall monitor in high school. They're just writing down names. And are they people from the Vikings, or is it an NFL representative?
No, it's like people you didn't know at first who they were, but now you have a good idea who they are because they start circling you if your mask is like a little bit below your nose, and they start circling you and like, hey, mask up. So that's the mask force.
So the bubble is obviously something that all players are excited about. What I got like 10 legitimately 7 text messages from guys, both coaches and players around the league. As soon as we talked about it the other day, they were like, don't even put that into the unit. Stop talking about it. Just don't even say it. But it is a big conversation. Let's eliminate the bubble thought, because I don't think it would be even possible within the NFL with how large it is, especially at this moment. It would be very, very difficult with all the things that NFL teams need as opposed to what NBA players need or the MLS or anything like that. So different story. But when you go home, do you just go home, lock yourself in your house, come back to work? And is that just put that on repeat? Is that what everybody is being asked to do? Or what is day to day? Can you leave your house? Can your kids leave your house? What is the rules?
Yeah, it's interesting, obviously, with having a family. I mean, you know how it is. During the season, you're exhausted. It's not like you're wanting to do much anyways. Especially when you have a family, you come home and your real job begins. But no, I mean, my family's still doing their thing. My boys go to school. things like that. But definitely try to be aware of it. It's my son's birthday this weekend, and
hey, happy birthday! Let's have a big party. Everybody in Minnesota, come to Thielen's house.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not inviting all of his friends and doing a big party, which is kind of a bummer. But we actually play on his birthday, so I have to do a little shout out over TV. But yeah, so we're doing a little party, just family tonight.
Oh, so you're going to score this weekend for your kid.
Here we go.
That's a good bet, actually. Anytime scorer, Adam Thielen. Because if not, his kid's birthday is completely ruined. What do you got, Connor?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Hey, you said it, not I. I mean, you can't even have a party for the kid.
Adam, COVID's been detrimental to undrafted free agents coming out of college. What would be your message to those guys? And do you think they have a chance next year to, make an impact?
Yeah, I'd say just give it another year. Just keep working out, keep training. If that's your dream and you really want to give it a true shot, I think that you'll have plenty of opportunity. Coming up next year with rookie camps. I'm sure they'll have a ton of invites for that, and workouts, things like that. Once this is all behind us, so obviously a bummer this year with no preseason games and all that, but I think those guys will get their shots as long as they keep training and keep working out and give it another year.
Whenever you had to pay to go work out, were you just so upset at the humans that you saw getting opportunities? You had to be. Now that we can hindsight the player that you are being perfectly built for the NFL, at that point being told by everybody like, we don't even want to give you a free workout. Like, you're going to have to pay us to do that. You had to be so upset at so many people, I would assume. Or was it just, no, I'm motivated. No, but nothing's going to stop me.
Honestly, I never even thought about it like being a big deal. I just kind of was like, oh, hey, it's an opportunity. I was pumped to be there. Obviously, when I got there, I think I told you guys this story, but when I got there and I saw a quarterback that couldn't throw it 10 yards and got kicked out immediately, I was like, oh boy, what am I doing? But no, honestly, I never really thought about that stuff until I, got into the league and started really thinking about it. Like, man, like, it's just crazy how it was kind of a little bit of a scam, to be honest. Most no business being there, but hey, I got me a look, I guess. So.
What was it? $15, $25?
I think it was like $500.
Whoa! It's quite a scam.
Good investment.
We'll send Diggs to the next one.
So we do have I do have a business plan for you. So if you want to start up a little combine deal,
I do. You'll be the face of it, like Mr. Regional Combine, the Thielen Combine. Come in, nobody will look at you, but you can pay to do things on our field.
Yeah, no scouts there. You can be any age. Never had to play college football.
If we find the next Vince Papale or the next Adam Thielen, now we're playing the game. What do you got, Diggs?
Adam, I know you have to say the right thing here, but you're going up against the Seattle defense this week that's averaging, I believe, 400 yards a game, giving up passing. Like, when you go into a game like that, do you get maybe just like a little bit excited going up against that defense? Or?
Well, it's funny because, everybody talks about like the stats. But if you watch their games, a few of them had big leads where they were kind of just playing prevent defense, where they just kind of letting guys catch the ball and then tackle them. So stats can be misleading. They have some guys in that secondary that are dang good football players. So it's a weird deal when you're in the NFL and people start talking about, man, they should just crush them because they're giving up so many yards. But when you look at the film, it's a different story. But again, that Seattle defense, no joke. They always are doing the right thing, and they're flying around, smacking people, creating turnovers. I think they have some of the highest turnovers in the NFL. So they're a really good defense.
I know you like your defense, and your defense is good, but Russ is going to figure it out. You guys are going to have to score. You're going to have to score.
Good luck.
And I'm excited you potentially, score for your kid's birthday. Because if you don't, I mean, who knows what your kid says about his birthday. How old is he? How old is your kid?
He's 4.
Oh, he'll remember this one too. Yeah, this is one he will remember.
Worst birthday ever.
I remember when my dad left me at home because I was locked in there to go play a football game and told me he was going to score a touchdown and didn't score a touchdown. I was 5. I think.
4?
I was 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah, I remember that like it was just. Hey,
Well, I do have cleats that say "Happy Birthday, Asher."
Nice.
Game, so
Smart.
Yeah,
Okay.
so either way, he'll be good.
Yeah, he'll be pissed if he doesn't.
Dad of the year. All right,
Yeah.
got it, Ty.
Adam, obviously you probably can't do it much during the season, but how's the golf game looking right now? And are you gearing up to defend your belt with Pat at the Bahamas next year?
Such a bummer that we didn't get to play this year. It was one of my most fun times playing golf with Pat with no shoes on. We weren't a great team. I think we tied.
Hey, that's
maybe.
better than a lot of people that lost, Dylan. Come on, bud.
Love the belt though. Love the belt.
Yeah, you got
But actually, 2 weeks before the season started, I played the best round of golf I've ever played. And then I haven't touched a club since, so it's probably not great. But hey, I had it there. The game was there at one point.
You were insane watching you golf, to be honest. I had no idea what to expect, obviously. You came onto the scene in the NFL, and it was always like the sneaky athlete guy. And then I think Randy Moss was like, this guy's not sneaky athletic. Like, this guy goes. This guy just goes around. It's not really a sneak or a surprise anymore. Like, you started like earning respect by people who didn't pay attention, just wanted to classify you into the classic, hey, this white guy went and paid for a regional combine wide receiver guy, hardworking guy. It's like, no, this guy's a freak athlete. And we knew that going into the round or whatever. But whenever you and me played Chris Paul and
Del Curry,
who's unbelievable.
I think he shot a 63.
Unbelievable golfer. I had no idea what to expect. You were so damn good. You played out at that Tahoe tourney. How'd you do out there?
I did okay. I struggled the first day, but then I played pretty well. I think I finished like top 20 maybe.
It's pretty good.
Wow.
You need me out there, huh? Is that what you need? You need me to?
That's what I really need.
Yeah.
You should be on the bay.
Well, I won't caddy for
Because
anybody.
if I had you as a caddy, though, you don't have to carry my clubs. I'll carry my clubs, but you're just there, just to keep me, relaxed, focused. You read my putts, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's going to be tough. I'm not good at reading, but I will keep you relaxed out there. It's all in the hips.
And they do have free drinks, so.
Oh,
bingo.
That.
And, I don't drink much, but that is a time where I think I would hop right back into the intoxicated river if I had to. What do you got?
Adam, what are you listening to pregame? And also, when you guys win, do you guys have a go-to song in the locker room after?
Yeah, here we go.
That's a great question. I don't actually listen to music very much.
These
so I don't
empty
really have
ass,
a
these
song.
empty stadiums, you're just, oh yeah, nothing.
Love
this is
this.
good. This is good.
Well,
like a
I
library.
talk too much. I like to talk. If you guys haven't found that out, so I just go around the locker room and find guys that just want to talk, and just kind of. It's my way of, I guess, just kind of zoning out that there's actually a football game going on, and I just kind of get just kind of chilled out and relaxed and ready to go.
Green Bay Packer quarterback Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He comes on the show every single
pretty
week.
good.
He talked about.
Oh yeah, your best friend, right?
Yeah.
Much better friend than me.
Whoa! He talked about how he said that the potential lack of fans is obviously good for the offense because you can hard count and you can communicate. But he also thought potentially, and he didn't make this as like a definitive shot, but he said there's a chance that like the juice that the crowd potentially gives for a defensive side of the ball because they have to gear up to hit somebody as opposed to not get hit is potentially something. Have you experienced any positives from the no crowd and it kind of being quiet aside from the obvious being able to communicate with Kirk Cousins and hear exactly what he's saying?
Yeah, no positives, honestly. I think what it is, honestly, is it's an advantage for the away team because most of the time you go into a stadium and it's just crazy. You can't hear the calls barely. It's hard to make checks. You can't hear the snap count, things like that. And now you go into a away stadium and it's like dead silent. It feels like a practice, and you can communicate, do those things. So it's kind of a weird deal. It's almost like flipped the home away, home advantage. So it's definitely interesting.
Before we let you go, and we can't thank you enough for spending time here on this Fast Friday. Is that your logo on your hat right there?
That's right. Yeah, Thielen Foundation.
That's a dope. Hey, that is a very good logo. As I was looking at it while you were talking, I was like, oh, the AT there. I see it. I like that logo. That's a very good logo. What is the Adam Thielen Foundation?
Yeah, it's we're here to help youth reach their full potential. That's kind of our slogan. We kind of do a wide variety, but really just helping kids that don't have resources, don't have opportunities, giving them those resources, those opportunities. And our big push right now is change through sport. So allowing them to play sports, play at a high level by providing equipment, resources, opportunities, whether that be camps or, being able to help these teams play other teams, things like that. Just allowing these kids, whether it be middle school, high school kids, to be able to play at their highest potential and want to play because they have the right resources. So it's been really cool, and we're excited to continue, helping out.
Hey, you're a sneaky good guy, Adam. Crafty philanthropist. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
How do we help out? What's the website?
Yeah, ThielenFoundation.org. So you can find out everything we're doing and what's going on with our foundation and what we our fundraising events, things like that. So appreciate you supporting.
No problem. I'm going to buy one of those hats for sure. And that's I before E rule there in the Thielen name. Thielen.
I before E except after C.
Which that's kind of bullshit though. I do believe. I think there's been a couple words.
With names, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, which is the only time it really pops up. So it's kind of a lie. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, a man who's a stud for the Minnesota Vikings. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Adam Thielen Foundation, Adam Thielen. Thank you, man. Cheers, dude.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you too. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, let's do it.
All right, we're locked in. All right, we'll figure out a day that we don't have somebody. You're in. You are in for next week.
Yeah, if you need a fill-in, you can't find anybody.
Get off the camera. Get him out of here.
Ruin your kid's birthday.
Ruin your kid's birthday. I love him. I am a big. He's very competitive, though, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So when it was him and I versus Chris Paul and Del Curry, that was the second round of the day. So I had already been.
It was the nighttime round.
I was in it. Yeah, it was night. I was already having a pretty good time at that point. And as soon as I pulled up to the opening tee box, it was us introducing ourselves to each other. I had no shoes on, obviously. My shorts were rolled up, and I was like, here we go, Thielen, let's go get this. He was like, yeah, let's go get this. That was the first thing. He was like, let's go. I would like to win this or whatever. I'm like, we will. And we came out, I think we were up 3 early or whatever. Whoa. And we had a great relationship. But then Dell started, every single shot was just going in there. And it was alternating shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was a time there where me and Chris Paul were trying to battle not to suck more against the two. And we came out with a split, which is a half a point, which is good. A lot of people took L's. We ended up winning. Shout out to Adam Thielen. He's a much better golfer than I am.
And as far as uniform swag goes in the NFL, he's a top 1%er.
He, by the way, coach's son, you know what I mean? Coach's son, hard worker.
He knows.
He had to be so angry at so many people. He had to see people get invited to the combine and just be like, this fucking guy. There had to be. Now, granted, he said he was just in his zone. I got to do what I got to do, for sure. But what motivates you to go through what you got to go through is probably a lot of hate, potentially. And if he's a chirper, which I think he is, and he is fiery, I would assume that there were some moments of, how did that person get that opportunity?
Yeah.
And I didn't. And he's made the most of it. He has made the most of it. One quick caller here before I have to read an ad read for the greatest sunglass company in the history of sunglasses.
Hell yeah.
Let's go to Kenny in California. Kenny, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, boys? Happy Feel Good Friday.
Happy Feel Good Friday to you as well in California. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, so first of all, I want to say happy birthday, early birthday, Big Z. Happy birthday, Gumpy.
Thank you.
Zito had to go handle something out in the office, tech-wise. He's out on assignment, I guess. But happy birthday to Zeke for sure, and belated to Gumpy. What do you want to talk about, Kenny?
Hey, so my dad's family is from Pittsburgh. So we're all the way out here in Central California, different from Northern California and Southern California. And my question for you guys is, shout out to Tone and Nick, also, go Steelers. But my grandma's from Pitcairn. She actually works for Heinz Ketchup.
So is mine.
And my question is, you guys have any cool, Pittsburgh, Italian, American words of the day for me?
All right, slippy. That means something is slippery. There it is. Slippy is the word that you need to look at. And gangster is the word that you need to look whenever you have the greatest pair of sunglasses in the history of sunglasses on your face. And listen, this sunglass industry can get slippy whenever you start talking about why the prices are the way they are. The reason is they're all coming from the same factory, and they all decided that they're going to charge a ridiculous amount of money for their sunglasses. Shady Rays said, nah, we're going to charge cheaper with the same damn high quality, and Shady Rays has the greatest warranty in the history of warranties of anything. They will replace your glasses if they're lost or stolen for any reason at all. Have you heard that?
Oh.
Any reason at all.
Any reason.
Hey, boys, cool glasses.
Thank you.
Cool glasses.
Also, those cool glasses, if you lose or break them, they will give you another pair because Shady Rays warranty is so damn good. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every single order placed and have already provided over 10 million meals to date. They stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they throw profit out the window and do what it takes to get it right. Free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. That's it. Right now, use code McAfee for 25% off any pair of shades at ShadyRays.com. Shout out to Shady Rays. Shout out to you. We're back in hour 3 with TJ Watt. This is the Pat McAfee Show. We have a kid named Evan Fox in this office. This kid was once a videographer for weddings. He shoots no less than 200 basketballs a day. Now he's become full-time producer of Pat McAfee Show. The kid, I think, could potentially play in the NBA. He's been on the sideline of the national championship. Kid's been at the Super Bowl. Is one of the most talented dudes when it comes to interneting. And if Foxy drains an NBA 3 on his first shot, we will add $1,000 to the for $1,000 to win $1,000. You make this $1,000 for $2,000 cash for the listeners.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. My hands are sweating right now. I had no clue this was happening. I have no warm-ups. This is the biggest shot I've ever had. So I'm a little sore. I've never had a shot worth $1,000. I've never had a shot with this many eyes on me. But hey, I have no excuses.
That
This
wasn't
isn't
about
about
knees weak, arms are heavy. Go ahead, Foxy. Kid from Michigan with the beard. Evan Foxy with a fresh fade. Couple dribbles. He gets set. He steps up. He puts it up. Mom spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. Disgusting, despicable, airball for nothing. Short left brick.
That was the worst shot I've ever seen him shoot in the history of this office.
Without question. It was an absolute brick. Have you ever seen a kid shoot that terribly? I left it out. Another miss.
One, I'm a roast Foxy. He was the reason Zito crashed the RV at MetLife. Foxy, you might look good, but you're a jinx, cuz you're like
He's dead. He's dead. Rest in peace, Foxy. Evan Fox is currently 0 for 3, currently shooting 0% in these types of shots. You have missed disgustingly. We're sorry, listeners. We're sorry, followers. We're sorry, subscribers. Evan Fox is just trying to ruin it at all stops. We're 0 for 4 in these types of shots. There's zero chance this ball goes in. He's gone 0 for 5. That was $1,000 shot that didn't even hit rim.
I stink.
In front of the millions and millions of people. He held it up too. That's tough. That's embarrassing. The kid who never misses when the camera isn't on. Evan Fox, who's very handsome and very talented, will attempt to shoot for $2,000 cash for the listeners. We will give away 2 great. Oh, he passes it to himself off the break. He steps up for the win. He steps up for the wing. I am so happy he hangs on the rim in an attempt to break it. We will give away $2,000 because Evan Fox is now 1 for 7. And nothing but splash for the young, handsome Evan Foxy. Wow, what a day. I am so happy for you.
Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we could talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello. Hour 3 of this Feel Good Friday on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio begins right now. In this third hour, we'll be talking to TJ Watt here in a couple minutes. Cannot wait to chat with him. We just got done with Adam Thielen. Great convo with Adam Thielen about the year and how the crowd and everything like that. And it's just cool to see people have a good time whenever it seems like it is potentially not a great time to be doing what you're currently doing. The NFL players right now and coaches and equipment managers and athletic trainers, and I think that is what I've noticed the most out of the Tennessee outbreak, out of what happened in New England, now with the Jets, and everything that's kind of moving and grooving. It's almost like we should be giving a lot more credit to all the guys and girls that haven't had anything done.
Correct.
Yeah. So congrats to the 29 teams that have successfly followed all the COVID-19 protocols to get us into this week 5 of the NFL season.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right now,
Good Friday, baby.
negativity hogs publicity. So obviously we're going to talk about the Jets in New England and what's happening in Tennessee and everything like that. And in the Las Vegas Raiders, who had one person and games being moved, and the Chiefs having a practice player having a positive, Jordan Ta'amu, the XFL's MVP probably, if PJ Walker didn't have it. But that means there's a lot of other teams that have done this thing completely right. And on this Feel Good Friday, I think we should celebrate those particular humans.
Hell yeah.
So big thanks to the 28 teams, if you do lump the Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, who have had a positive case. Well, I guess 27 teams for having an incredible start with your protocols.
Let's go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean,
Takes all of us.
People are going to talk about how there's protocols being broken in different buildings a lot. That led off all the news, basically.
Yeah.
Hey, we got 2 games on Monday. We got a game on Tuesday. We got this happening on this day. And it's all like negative. How about the teams that have had negative tests throughout this entire thing? They deserve a little round of applause.
Let's go.
We'll be a team or a show that will spotlight them.
Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
Joining us now is a man from a team that did get affected by the COVID, but had no positive tests. This man last year was number 3 in the Defensive Player of the Year voting.
What?
This man is currently the odds-on favorite to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
What?
This man gets interceptions.
What?
This man gets fumbles.
What?
This man gets sacks.
What?
More sacks.
What?
More sacks.
What?
This man also eats at Subway.
What?
Also hosts a game show about tag.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, defensive end, outside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, TJ.
What?
Wow, that was some introduction, man. I love the energy.
Well, you deserve it. I enjoy the way you play the football as well. I think before we get this...
Get out, man.
Hey, I appreciate
They were going like hotcakes in the stinking locker room. The whole locker got berated. I think there's only one left, and I got it on.
Well, by the way, I love your Wisconsin accent. I just hear it immediately. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Excited to chat with you here on this Fast Friday.
Thank you, man. I'm here for it.
All right, so you're a man. I obviously know that you eat weights for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You watch more film than anybody. You like working. I mean, that is kind of why you've gotten to where you are. Last week, you guys get thrown into a bye week without knowing it's a bye week, basically, because of what happens in Tennessee. I would assume going into the season, you knew that this was potentially possible. Mike Tomlin's wordings were, "We do not care." That has to be the mindset throughout the entire team. And do you feel fresher with your knee injury and the team? Do you feel fresher going into the Eagles this weekend? And did you get a little bit of the benefit of a bye week without even knowing you were in one?
Yeah, I think me personally, I got to capitalize on it. I had the knee, and I got a little banged up in the previous week, and it would have been nicer to have a few extra days and know the bye week was coming a little bit sooner than it was. But like Coach T said, we really don't care. It doesn't matter who we're facing. We don't care where we have to play, when we have to play. We're trying to do everything that we can to follow these protocols. I got a tracker on me every time I'm in the facility. And I want to play football, and I'll do whatever it takes to do it. And I want to stay inside the house and not leave if that's what it takes.
I feel like I just want to play football is a mindset by a lot of people in the NFL, obviously, but the Watt family, it's celebrated. And I don't think anybody, not that that's a good thing, by the way. You get it. Yeah. But
I get it.
I don't think anybody knew what to expect from you, right? I think everybody just automatically assumed, like, hey, this is another JJ here, but you go to Pittsburgh, obviously. You have a different route to get to where you are. I mean, you have your own story. And last year, we went to that Buffalo Bills game at the end of the season. It didn't end up great. We probably should have won. That was my fault for probably you guys losing. But I noticed in year 3, okay, you were the last guy introduced when the defense was introduced. And I was like, whoa, I did not expect that to be the guy that comes out last. That's a rather large deal, okay? That is, in the locker room, that's a big deal. In the city, that's a big deal. At what point did you know, like, you were going to be a guy in the NFL? Like, obviously you had that thought going in. You're like, all right, I'm going to be able to do what I got to do. But was there any moments where you're like, okay, Pittsburgh's a great city for me, this team's a great team for me, and this league is a league that I'm going to have success in?
Yeah, I always thought Pittsburgh was a great fit for me. They run the 3-4 really well. Obviously, they're known for their outside linebackers and having splash. And then, I mean, seeing JJ firsthand and Derek, obviously, too, having success in the NFL, knowing that I grew up with those guys, I knew the work that went into it. And I said, if they can do it, why can't I? So I think they gave me kind of the blueprint of what I had to do and just trying to be the best professional that I could be. Soaking up as much information as a rookie and not talking. I think JJ taught me that, to try to be the quiet guy that just performs really well. And as the years goes on, you kind of grow into that leadership role. And like you said, coming out of the tunnel last, I think year 3, I think I found that out on game day, and that was a really cool moment for me. And the rest is still being written.
Hey, that's a lot of pressure coming out last. Okay, this is the final. Here we go. Now, granted, Renegade comes on in the fourth quarter. That's another little boost. But you coming out is a big deal. And I was like, damn, this is real. And then you start watching you play these last couple of years. Obviously, first couple of years are still good. Last year, 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. This year, the odds-on favorite. What is it you think that has made you have this success that you've had in the game? Is it your skill set? Is it your power? Is it your speed? Is it is it a combination of everything? What do you think it actually is, if you could put a finger point on it?
I think it's a combination of things. I'm still just growing at this position. I only played 2 years of defense in college, so I'm still growing with the position. I played only right side my rookie year. These past few years, I've played only left side. So just getting more and more comfortable. The game is slowing down. Early on in my career, I wasn't able to kind of process everything. I wasn't able to listen as much to snap counts, to what the offensive linemen are saying, just because I had so much going on in my mind of what I was doing on each play. But now things are slowing down, so I can listen. If a lineman's saying something that is referring to a pass or a run play, I can hear that and usually jump the snap count and get the play right.
So the no crowd thing has been a benefit to the offense in everybody's eyes. Like, hard counts are working on the road team does whatever. Defense seems to be getting screwed with the lack of fans. But in your eyes, you're actually using it as an advantage. Like, okay, and normally whenever this city in this stadium is so loud, which is great news for me against these tackles who can't get off on time or whatever. But without that, you've been able to find some real advantages in being able to hear potential code words or anything like that?
Yeah, I think, like you just said, it's huge to have that crowd noise. Don't get me wrong, as a pass rusher, I would want that more than anything, especially here in Pittsburgh, Steeler Nation, flipping the towels around and everything, and being able to get off the ball is number one as an edge rusher. But you have to look at the bright side, and this is the first time I've been able to hear almost everything. This is the most TV copies of games that I've watched. I've watched pretty much every single game of our opponent on TV and just kind of close my eyes and listen for as much information that I could possibly get to help me and then relate it to my teammates and use it to our benefit.
Man, damn, that is just, so you really are like, I do the football. You go home.
I absolutely love the game of football. I love being able to go in on Sunday and say, I prepared everything that I possibly can. While that guy was probably sitting on the couch watching TV, I've been watching film. I've been working out. I know how corny it sounds, but it's truly how I feel about the game.
No, that's confidence, by the way. Your preparation leads to your confidence, because if you feel like you're prepared for anything, even more prepared than the other person, you can kind of just go ahead and let it rip and react as opposed to overthink. So I think that's a good thing, and I think the greats all have that, and it's awesome to hear that you do, because I was a little bit worried about your generation being a bunch of soft asses. You know what I mean? Playing video games. I was worried about that. I was obviously worried about
that. Not around here.
What do you got, Tiggs?
TJ, so you had 13 sacks your rookie year, which is pretty good. By the way, big fan. 14 and a half sacks last year. And, like, you'll have these good games, and JJ will tweet, like, yay, TJ. But then, like, someone will say something. He'll be like, well, yeah, come talk to me when he has 3 defensive player of the year. Like, why is he got to be such a bully, man? Like, why is he got to be a bully?
What's that all about?
He likes to dish compliments, but he doesn't like to dish too much. He likes to remind me that he has all of his awards. Anytime I FaceTime him, sometimes he'll be in his office, and he's got the three awards hanging above his head, and I'm like, I know you won those. It's incredible to go back and just look at all the stats that he put up. I know you played in the AFC South, Pat, and got to see some of the stuff firsthand, and it was incredible. I go back and look at those stats from when he was really, really on his game, and it's crazy.
He was a game wrecker in all facets. I mean, scoring touchdowns. You ever get in Tomlin's ear like, hey, maybe throw me an out every once in a while?
He said, I got to do a lot more before we do any of those stuff. Good tight ends here.
Let's talk about Tomlin. You got to do a lot more, too, before you potentially just chew out your coach allegedly on the practice field and change everything around. No, we won't talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. But let's talk about Tomlin, though. I've had a chance, obviously, to interact with Tomlin on a couple different occasions. Coach Stu, who was my coach at West Virginia, gave him his first job, so he was around a lot. Tomlin was the one that put me through my workout on my pro day at West Virginia. Without him, I'm not in the league. Every time we play, I got a chance to dap him up. And he doesn't do a lot of talking. He's not with the media much. But I talk to everybody that plays for the Steelers. They're like, he's that dude. Like, he is just that guy. What has Tomlin been like to play for? And why does he never get the credit or the the accolades that everybody else seems to have if they had the same record he had?
Man, he's awesome. He's the ultimate coach as far as knowing how to motivate his players, and he's never gonna fold up shop like last year. You saw we didn't have our starting quarterback, and he just said, "Listen, we're gonna go with what we got, and we're gonna." As a defense, he's a defensive-minded coach. I really love just his attack mentality. I mean, we embrace being blitzers. We embrace being that badass defense that flies around and makes as many plays as we possibly can and create and splash. Just as a person, the amount of transparency that he has, if you don't know if you're playing well, all you got to do is ask him. He's going to tell you. He's not going to hide how he feels. I think that's really important from an evaluation standpoint and just a person.
I'm a big fan of him. He came up to me last week or last year whenever we were there and talked about everything I was doing. And I know he's a super football guy, but he never gets talked about at the level that great coaches get talked about, and he has just been so good. And the legacy in Pittsburgh, by the way, is to have a badass defense. Like, that is something that Pittsburgh, the Steeler fans absolutely love. And for you guys, this defensive line you have is like the steel curtain again, but in a different fashion. It's much more athletic. It makes different plays. But you, Cam, Bud, the whole boys in that room there, you have to be an absolute nightmare. How nice is it to know that the people that are lining up, now granted you're outside linebacker, we get it, but the people that are rushing the passer are an incredibly talented group. Cam Hayward picked a human up last year and dumped him on a quarterback and completely changed the trajectory of the Indianapolis Colts. That group that you guys have, are you competing against each other? Is it like, hey, who's going to be the dog this week in the room? Or is it, hey, let's all eat here. Let's figure out how we can all eat.
Man, Cam, Bud, Tua, Tyson, you should see practice. I think Bud put an offensive lineman on his ass yesterday in practice.
Wait. Is there drama in the Pittsburgh Steelers? Bud Dupree is fighting offensive linemen? Oh, my God.
It's very competitive around here, but it's all the right type of competition.
Okay.
We all love to see each other succeed. We don't care who's making the plays. Like you said, we blitz a lot. And we don't care who's blitzing. The other team doesn't know where it's coming from because we send absolutely everybody. So as long as we're making the plays, we're creating splash, and we're providing the offense with good field position and turn the ball over, life is good in Pittsburgh.
TJ, obviously you grew up watching your brother, Stud, one of the best, one of the all-time greats. Are there any other guys, though, that you idolized or watched film on to get some pass rush moves or to model your game after?
Not really growing up, just because I just switched to defense my junior year of college. But now that I'm in the NFL, I try to, whenever I play an offensive lineman, I try to watch somebody that's kind of a speed rusher like a Von Miller or Yannick Ngakoue. Just guys that are really skilled with their hands, that have a great get off. Just love to watch their craft and see what type of moves that I can translate to my game.
Why'd you do the kick? I enjoy the kick, but when did we settle on because it's really good extension too. You have great flexibility. It's your celebration. How did you settle on that? You just freak out, panic one time, you do it, and everybody's like,
I honestly think that's what it is. I make a play, I black out, and the first thing that happens is my leg goes up in the air, and the rest is history.
Do you yell a lot? Because your brother, they have your brother mic'd up, and he is a chirper. I mean, he is a guy that is a chirper. I would assume in that family you have to be. Are you a big talker, or are you kind of celebrate, yell, I'll keep it quiet in between plays?
I was mic'd up for the first time against the Texans last week, and I made sure that I didn't talk as much trash as I normally do.
Oh, smart. That's very smart, by the way.
But I think, like you said, it comes back to the confidence thing and just trying to play as best as you possibly can, and mental warfare is definitely part of it. It can be. And I love the yell. I love the yell after you make a play. It's just super, super excited. And this is the NFL, man. It's tough to make these plays, so it'd be a disservice not to celebrate when you make them.
I agree. I had that motto whenever I was punting, man. It's not easy to do what I just did. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I'm pumped to be here. I'm going to celebrate the hell out of this. You saying that mental warfare is a part of it is awesome to think about. Just going into a game like, all right, I'm going to beat this guy physically and mentally. I'm going to wear this guy's ass out. What's up, Diggs?
TJ, no offense to Mason and Duck. We love Duck. We've had Duck on the show. But how awesome is it to have Seven back?
Oh, it's incredible. He looks awesome, and to be able to compete and practice against him again, and the no-look passes are back and just dropping dimes on a daily basis. Obviously, we can't get close to him at all. He's got a big bubble around him in the pocket. That's unfortunate.
Smart.
But it's awesome to have him back.
Last question before we let you go, and we can't thank you enough for spending time here. Great hat, too. I mean, the backwards hat.
Wow. Thank you.
You look so cool, dude.
Good look. Black chain.
So,
black
with
chain
the
is
black
cool.
chain.
Wow.
I mean,
I'm probably going to buy one today.
I try to tie it in with the shirt.
You look awesome. Hey, don't get us wrong. You look awesome. I thought that maybe because you guys were heating up, and defense is playing great since jump, but the offense was heating up or whatever. Then all of a sudden you have this layoff out of nowhere for the Titans game, now building back up. Do you see any chance of your team potentially having a hiccup because of what happened to the Titans, or is that just something that should not even be talked about? We're professionals here.
I don't know. I feel very confident. I take this kind of not as like a bye week, but more like a bowl prep. It's kind of how I've been looking at it. Just because we've had an extended period of time, we know who our opponent's going to be. You can watch as much film as you could possibly watch. Our bodies feel great. Everybody's fresh. And I'm excited. It feels like it's been a long time since we've been in the stadium, and I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
What lifts do you I know your brother does those things out in the log house that he has. That's like
the log.
He lives out in a log house that is I think it's like 75,000 square feet.
Yeah,
or
just
something.
about. Yeah.
You know, like he's living out in the woods out in Wisconsin. I'm like, well, let's look at the house first. I mean, he's got TV with lighting around the outside.
Scary at night. It is in the middle of the woods. It is scary at night, I tell you that.
Well, that's why you got to be a Watt brother. Right? That's why you guys got that Subway shop that your dad runs outside of it. But what is the go-to lift? Explosive exercises?
Oh, yeah, you want to be as explosive as possible, but you also don't want to push it too hard in season, and you have to be smart with pushing yourself and being as smart as possible. You don't want to have any tweaks or anything before you go out in the field. So usually you start more strength early in the week, and then it's kind of a slow taper as you get closer to game day.
All right. Well, good luck this Sunday. It's going to be great to see you guys playing the football again. I mean, unless there is still time for COVID to potentially. Yeah. Hey, there is still. Knock on wood. Happy birthday to you Sunday. Have a great one out there. I assume a sack or two, a big punt. Have a great time, ladies and gentlemen. Defensive Player of the Year favorite right now. A man who was number 3 in the voting last year. 4th year Pittsburgh Steeler outside linebacker TJ Watt. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Cool guy.
Yeah,
great guy.
Classic cool guy. He kicks ass on the field, though. Very good. When he came out last in the introduction there, when we went to that Steelers game, place went bananas. Mm-hmm. That is a rather tall task, by the way, to be the last person out there. You've seen the different people. Ray Lewis comes out last. Oh, yeah. Peyton used to come out last. Andrew come out last. You look at JJ used to come out last. That's a big thing. And Dawkins, whenever he was playing for the Eagles, like the last person to come out is you got to be respected by the team as well to put you there, not just the players. And I think that's a big deal for a third-year guy. What's
You know how easily influenced I am?
Yeah, you just bought the black chain?
Bought the black chain.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, you had to.
Had to.
Had to.
It's something that had to be done.
But you're turning into Jay Cutler right now because you're watching that Montana show. You were a madman there for like a year, just getting hammered off of whiskey every single day with that slick back hair. Yeah, you're a chameleon, but you're a damn good one.
Thank you.
21 minutes into this third hour on this Feel Good Friday, we're going to get to a break. On the other side, we will answer some phone calls, 1-888-MAD-DOG-6, and hopefully go into the weekend in a beautiful fashion.
There.
Nope. Ooh. Well, I hit the play thing. Me and my mouse over here. Yeah. Like, when was the last time you used a mouse? I assume a lot of people do. I assume a lot of people do, but I will let you know that I am not people. I don't even know how to work this laptop. It's just sitting in here, and if I didn't have to just put my finger down here, I wouldn't be able to get in. I am a cell phone person. I haven't used a mouse in a long time. The left button, right button thing. Yeah. You know, I'm really happy Steve Jobs came around.
Thank God.
You know.
Yeah.
Because this son of a bitch used to be very, very, very important and everything. And it is glitchy. Hey,
It is. Especially the wireless ones.
Hey, this mouse and most mouses, more glitchy and worse than Madden.
No. Oh,
Yeah,
jersey. Watch your jersey.
Oh my
Good eye, Tony.
Great eye.
I didn't want it to shatter.
All right, we're back on the other side on this Feel Good Friday, October 9th. Big thanks to the Steelers. I think Steelers by 3 scores against the Eagles on Sunday. This is the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you on the other side.
Wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because
I know where you're going. I think I got something to support it.
I wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because when you look up the numbers, it seems like the better football team, okay? But then the ticket situation happened, and the lines went from 5.5 to 3.5, so I'm staying away from the side. I am taking another fucking under tonight, okay?
Tony, let me tell you something.
You go first, and then I'll tell you why I'm taking the under.
It's no fun.
Prime time
I love it.
games this year
I don't care.
are 8-6 to the under.
8-6 the under. Okay. Let me tell you something. Chicago's defense, number 5 in opponent's point per play. Number 7 in opponent yard per play. Number 3 in opponent third down conversions. Number 1 in opponent red zone scoring.
Oh, that's a problem.
Number 6 in opponent yards per pass, and number 7 overall in DVOA on defense. Tampa's defense, number 4 in opponent yards per play, number 10 in opponent third down conversion, number 9 in opponent red zone scoring, number 2 in opponent yard per rush, and number 2 in all total defensive DVOA. 39% of the tickets are on the under, 70% of the money's on the under. Tony Diggs, Tony Unders is on the under 44.5 tonight.
Good for you, Tony.
Good for me.
Good for you making a bet on Thursday night.
Babe.
Zito sent
this
video,
is
dude.
awesome.
A fucking cat falls from 6 stories and lands on this dude's head and knocks him out.
But
lands on its feet.
Best part.
And then this fucking, and then
the dog wearing shoes?
Jordans.
Yes,
and and then this dog wearing Jordans finds the cat and fucking tries to fucking box it for falling on this dude's head.
That guy dropped like a sack of bricks.
Yeah, he dead.
A cat fell on him from 6 stories, Gumpy.
That guy weighed 20 pounds.
Fucking broke his neck.
Did that cat scalp him?
Spinal fluid leaking into his.
Oh, yeah, you can see him go lifeless. He is dead.
Dead.
And then the dog reprimands the cat. I mean, it really is good to see this animal.
For some reason, the dog is wearing Jordans.
I've never seen somebody
It's Air Bud.
that in my life.
It is Air Bud.
Well, the dog investigates the corpse. He determines the cause of death.
Sucker.
And his tail's wagging as he's walking up to the guy, too.
Who did this?
What, bitch?
Yeah, I fell on that motherfucker.
That's wild.
You know what? Can anyone around here help this guy out? I mean, you're standing next to this guy, and it looks like someone point blank shoots him in the head with a shotgun, and people just keep walking.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. This song is called The Fall by Just Jelly. Ooh. And it's a little bit of a build-up, but when this song bitch gets going, it is the perfect song for this Feel Good Friday, October 9th, 2020. And you might think right now is the time to start maybe ramping up for the build-up. We still got time. This song bitch takes its time. It is a patient song, but once it drops, the mood in wherever room it is being played, maybe it's a car or office, is automatically lifted.
Oh, yeah.
The beat here by Just Jelly on this song called The Fall was well put together. Like Van Gogh or Bob Ross painting. Every sound was put together to perfection like the paint on a canvas. We are getting to the point now where it is about to go. And if you're in a car, put your seatbelt on because it's about to get rough. And Feel Good Friday starts. Let's go! All right, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show.
That's the most cardio I've done in a week.
Easy on that couch.
Oh, come on!
I heard some things cracking, by the way. I do believe Birthday Boy's couch over there was not built for celebrating Feel Good Friday like that. We are back. At Tone Diggs is here, at Boston Connors here, at Ty Schmidt is here. All the boys are in the back room putting things together. And back on the couch after having a little bit of an assignment at Viva Lazito one day before his birthday. What is the current readings of your big-ass poll, which is conveniently timed to be immediately after Tom Brady makes one of his only mental errors I've ever seen him make in the last 20 years as a Tampa Bay Gronkaneer, losing to the Chicago Bears?
I'm just saying Belichick would not let that happen, but
it actually did let it happen because Brian Hoyer did the exact same thing, almost worse, getting sacked inbounds, but it just wasn't at the end of the game to lose it.
He's a disciple of Brady, so that's why he did that.
Yeah, well, Belichick let it happen under his watch, so anybody that's saying that Tom Brady wouldn't do that with Bill Belichick, well, it actually just fucking happened a couple days ago with Brian Hoyer. Anyways, what's the poll?
Yeah, who will have a more successful 2020 season? Tom Brady at 31%, Bill Belichick at 69%.
That's funny. Who will have a more successful 2020 season, which could have been asked any given time. The fact that you conveniently asked this immediately after Tom Brady's moment last night is some...
Patriots just lost.
It's misleading journalism, what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because your polls are large, a lot of votes, so you'll be able to stand by this for a long time. Well,
For sure, yeah.
over 10,000 people voted.
Oh, yeah. No big deal.
Hey, that's a big poll for a Friday.
It's a big poll.
Friday, normally internet's a little bit slower than other days, which is a little bit of a tip to those content creators out there. Friday, if you don't get a lot of views early, know that is just standard. Everybody's kind of off their phone on Friday, although we are in a quarantine, so I don't know how the rules hold up. But anyways, let's go to Connor in Minnesota, same place where Adam Thielen was calling from. What's going on, Connor?
Hey, boys. Happy Feel Good Friday and happy early birthday to Zito.
Happy late birthday to you guys.
Happy birthday, Gum. Happy birthday, Jay.
This guy hates Canadians here. What do you want to talk about, brother?
I want to shout out a couple of things. First of all, guys, congratulations on getting to 1 million subscribers.
Hey, that's a real
proud to be
celebration.
one of McAfee's million.
Thank you.
All right, pause there. Second, shout out to Ty Schmidt. Let's go Yankees tonight. Hopefully we can get the dub. Take down Houston. And last but not least, let's go. Are my Chargers cursed? I feel like they're the AFC version of the Detroit Lions.
No. I think the Chargers are actually about to be something. Now, you found a quarterback, which is a big deal. Now, granted, you had Phillip Rivers for 17 years or whatever. He was a good quarterback as well. But, I think it never really came together with Justin Herbert being named the starter in lieu of Tyrod Taylor, who I guess is healthy. That's why this announcement had to happen, which absolutely stinks for Tyrod Taylor. Like, let's not get it confused. That absolutely stinks for Tyrod Taylor. We've talked about Tyrod Taylor. He was in Baltimore backing up Joe Flacco. Then he goes to Buffalo, gets them to the playoffs for the first time ever. Well, no, you get it. First time in a long time. He gets shipped out of town immediately afterwards. Like, McDermott's like, yeah, cool, thanks for that, but we got different plans. And, by the way, to McDermott's credit and Mr. Bean up there, it has worked with old Josh Allen thus far. He goes to Cleveland. He's a starter. They draft Baker Mayfield #1 overall. He's told he's a starter. The team's told he's a starter. Then they bring somebody out, Baker Mayfield in. He loses his job because he got hurt. Baker Mayfield comes in, lights a fire for the Cleveland Browns. He's gone. He goes to San Diego Chargers, backs up Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers leaves the town for the first time in 17 years. This is Tyrod Taylor's team. Although we did think about getting Tom Brady, he wasn't interested. It is Tyrod Taylor's team, Tyrod Taylor's team, Tyrod Taylor's team. They said that, echoed it all the way through. They draft Air Bear at number 5 overall or number 6 overall, whatever it was. Tyrod Taylor's team, Tyrod Taylor's team. Then Tyrod Taylor's team, the Chargers, take a golf tee and shove it into his lungs right before the game, like 5-10 minutes before the game. Yep. He can't play because he's got a punctured lung and bruised ribs, which is quite a combination there. Air Bear starts. Air Bear plays unbelievable. The reason why he's a top 5 pick is because of how he played. We did not expect him to play the way he played against the Chargers or against the Chiefs, but he did. Then he follows it up on the road against Tampa, which was healthy whenever he played him at the beginning, much more healthy than they were last night, so let's not take away against that game. But he played great against the GOAT. He answered on numerous occasions, put balls in places that only Keenan Allen could catch and other guys. It seemed like he was becoming a leader of the team. But Anthony Lynn knows that the team was the reason why Tyrod Taylor is no longer the starter. So it was going to be an interesting situation. Do you pull Justin Herbert off the field after playing great football as a rookie? And you know that he's the future of your team. You invested a top 5 pick in this guy. Do you pull him back just because morally it's the right thing to do? And in the NFL, although morals are something, protect the shield, represent the shield, when it comes to playing time, that is not normally the case. But the old rule was you can't lose your job to an injury, especially if said injury was a sabotage by your own team, which potentially was the case with a doctor making a mistake that has a low percentage chance of happening. It hasn't happened since the 90s to the guy 5-10 minutes before. What was Anthony Lynn going to do? What was Anthony Lynn going to do? Well, Anthony Lynn came out yesterday and said, Air Bear's our guy. Sorry, Tyrod. Your string of misfortune continues here at the Los Angeles Chargers in a brand new stadium. Tyrod Taylor, who has always been the way he is, great teammate, great quarterback. I assume he'll try to help Justin Herbert, Pep Hamilton, quarterback coach. That's a great room, I would assume. Tyrod Taylor has fallen victim to circumstance yet again, but I think if you're a Chargers fan, you got to be pumped about Air Bear and how he's played thus far.
Yeah, and here's the question is, would you rather someone learn on the field versus off the field? Anthony Lynn said that they envisioned him sitting behind Tyrod for a year like Patrick Mahomes did in Kansas City, but I feel like as a Chargers fan, you have to be pumped because he's learning while on the field while also playing very well.
You know, Aaron Rodgers is always the person that people point to as like, hey, he sat behind Favre for numerous years and look what all he learned. And I think Aaron, whenever you hear him talk about why he does so well against defenses, because he's able to recall defenses that were being run against him, even if it was from like his first or second year playing. So I think the quicker, now if you can keep him healthy, good. But the quicker you can get him in there to potentially learn different situations, that is also an upside. But watching a starter operate as a starter in the NFL has massive upside as well. I wished, and I've said this on numerous occasions, and we wouldn't have been able to do it contract-wise and I would assume personality-wise and everything like that, but I wish Andrew Luck could have watched Peyton for 1 year be the starter of the Colts. Like, I just wish he could have watched the way he operated at practice, how he operated in the locker room, how he operated with management, how he operated. I just wish that could have happened because those are the things you learn as you go. Like, this is what a pro does. Hopefully that's what Tua's doing with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that was probably what Air Bear was going to do with Tyrod Taylor, but circumstances forced their hand. He's playing early. He's playing good. Now's not the time to pull him out, even though you wanted him to potentially learn. That's the smart move, I think, but it sucks for Tyrod Taylor. It absolutely sucks for Tyrod.
That off-the-field stuff you're talking about, has he gotten that already? It's been 5 weeks where he's kind of been following him or following his lead.
It's a whole different year. Like, they're not even allowed to talk, really, right? They're not even allowed to go into meetings. So I don't know if you would even ever get the amount of off-the-field learning that you could because, like, I mean, a quarterback is a CEO of a team. Like, that they really are. Like, and that's why the Aaron Rodgers saga is so interesting with Green Bay because it feels like Aaron does say some things and then the exact opposite tends to happen, like within the hour even. Yeah. And I think that happened draft night. I think that actually happened.
You bet.
But a quarterback has a lot of, like a quarterback, you have to be able to run the team. You're the guy. Everybody looks at you. You're going to get paid the most, okay? You're going to get the most credit for whenever wins. You're going to get the most blame for losses. The team goes as you go. So being able to watch a vet be like, don't like that, can't be doing that, we don't need to be doing that. Hey, that's awesome. Let's keep doing that. Let's get more of that. You need to stop doing that. Like a quarterback, it takes a long time to do that. Because imagine you're 21 years old, 22 years old, and you're being tasked with being a quarterback of an NFL team that has adults on it. You can't just go in and be like, we need that workout to stop. Like, we need to stop doing that. We can't cut that guy. We got to keep that guy, but get rid of that guy. Like, that is what quarterbacks have to be able to do, basically, in the NFL. As a young guy, that's tough. You can only learn that. Hopefully, if he continues to play good, he'll be able to build up that locker room credit where he'll start getting a good feel for things, and Tyrod will be able to help him. But I don't know if that's something you can learn in 5 games. I don't know if it's something you can learn in a year, by the way. And some people might just not have it. Who knows if Air Bear's one of those guys or not.
I assume there's probably something you'd sign that says you can't do this, but like, could Tyrod Taylor potentially file like a civil suit? Because he could, like, you know, like he's probably going to be a backup quarterback for the rest of this year now, obviously, unless Herbert gets hurt or something like that. But he could, if he would have started this year, there's a good chance that he gets the opportunity to be a stopgap again somewhere next year, right? Or like what's next?
They're gonna.
And that's
You can file a grievance, right?
What's that?
Tyrod, can you file a grievance with the NFLPA for?
Yeah, I don't know what that does though. It's like,
for money.
Yeah, maybe he gets some money, but it doesn't get him starting position.
Don't they have that thing in the contract that in the CBA or whatever that if a doctor on your own team hurts you, you can't sue them? Or,
I would assume there is something.
There probably is.
Both letters.
But I would assume that that's for like a surgery, not for just like a guy, like you said, just like fucking shoving a golf tee into his lungs.
You
Oh,
don't
sorry,
know.
pal.
You don't know. Let's go to Parker in North Carolina. What's going on, Parker?
What's going on, boys?
Hanging out. What's going on? What do you want to talk about down there?
Hey, first off, I want to shout you guys out again. You guys helped me out on my interview, kept it nice and fluid. It was an awesome interview. So thanks to you guys and Diggs and AJ. Appreciate the hell out of you.
Hell yeah.
Whoa. Thanks, Spider-Man.
What'd you tell him, Diggs?
I'm not.
I must have given him
Hey,
fantasy advice or something.
My question,
fantasy probably.
what is your pregame ritual, or maybe the weirdest one? You were talking about K-balls earlier in the show. And so what's your pregame ritual?
I didn't really have one. I just tried to sleep as long as possible and then get to the stadium as early as possible, and then we're just off and running, baby. That's all we did. I dance a lot. I saw a couple guys who got very deep in the superstition game. This sock before this sock, this song before this song. I'm going to do this before I do this. I'll take a leak, then I'll get taped, then I'll do stretch, then like there's people that have a very set routine. And I realized very young, all the way back, maybe even in high school soccer, because there's guys that put like one shin guard in before the other one and the whole thing. I just didn't want to get caught up in emotionally investing any energy in that. Just because I'm not smart enough to remember everything that's supposed to happen anyways. For this show, I normally say good day or good afternoon, beautiful people. I miss that like once or twice a week just because I completely forget. So I'm not really like a regiment guy on things that I do, but I know that I work much better on a schedule. So if I get to the stadium at a certain time, I think I feel a lot better than anything that I'm doing at the stadium. But there are dudes that do some weird stuff. I mean, there was a couple question marks. Guy would put something on, then take it off, and then put it on again. It's like,
that's a weird. Excuse
what
me?
if it fucking felt good the first time? Like, what are you gonna do? Oh, that happens a lot, but it's just not the right way. Oh man, is that every time? Every time. That's unbelievable. There's people that do stuff where I'm just like, why are you doing that? And they're like, well, it's worked. I'm like, is it that? Have you ever tried not doing it and see if you just shatter both your legs? Yeah, I pulled a hamstring. I was like, well.
Okay.
All right, go back to doing it. You got to tap the wall. Whatever floats your boat and makes you the best you go ahead and do it. But I was never smart enough to do any of that. Let's go to Scooch over there in Pittsburgh. What's going on, Scooch?
It's a bit slippy.
Hey, how's it going, guys? How yins doing out there in Indianapolis?
Not too bad. Just trying to make a couple gum bands. It gets slippy, though, with the buggy whenever you're walking out of the bank, pal. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. I'm going downtown later. It's going to be a tough one going down Parkway. But
watch out for
Squirrel Hill.
Well, why do you drive on Parkway and Driveway? What do you want to talk about, brother?
I know. All right. Just wondering how many sacks you think this Steelers defense is going to get this Sunday?
Well, they're
TJ Watt and the boys.
They're playing against literally a rugby player, a tackle.
Yeah,
I mean, this is something that doesn't get talked about with Carson Wentz, because I think Carson Wentz does potentially look a little gun shy at times this year, like he doesn't want to get hurt or whatever. But you can't blame him. I feel like, dude, and it sounds like, because I'm from Pittsburgh and we got a lot of Pittsburgh listeners and stuff, it sounds like a homer. That offense or that defensive line is a nightmare. They raise hell. I mean, that defensive line, and they did what they did to Jacoby Brissett last year, and it changed the Colts offense. So I think that was the first time I watched it. I was like, damn, Cam Hayward just picked a guy up and dumped him on a guy, another professional athlete who's very good at what he does, and just completely changed our entire season. And then anytime you watch the game, they are just mauling human beings. And TJ just talked about how they're bringing everybody. Like they blitz a lot. Yeah. But when you do that, you can get exposed on the back end. On the back end, they got Minka, who's a potential defense player of the year candidate as well. It feels like that defense is a problem, like a real problem. And I'm not 100% sure Carson Wentz, who had a couple of moments of greatness last week against the 49ers, is going to be able to do that on a very regular occasion. I think it's going to be problematic for the Eagles, but there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Steelers should be scared of the Eagles this week. I'm like, really? I feel the exact opposite way. I think they should cakewalk into this.
Yeah.
I think they, and I don't want to say that you should ever feel that way, especially when you're in a contact sport, and Philadelphia Eagles are professional athletes as well. But this Steelers team, the way they're talking, the way they should be acting, is we are one of the premier teams in the NFL. The Eagles are not. So this should be a game, especially coming off a week where they had to sit out because the Titans couldn't figure it out. I mean, I think this is going to be a long day for Carson Wentz. I think it's going to be a long, long day for Carson Wentz, and I would never want to be a quarterback playing against this defensive line ever. And by the way, you can probably put that up against any defensive line I wouldn't want to play quarterback for, but this one in particular seems to be a fucking nightmare.
What was he? He was sacked, I think, 8 times against the Washington football team, so probably somewhere around there.
And Chase Young is an animal. Okay,
very similar talent-wise.
Kerrigan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was one that came on the show, right?
Yeah.
CJ Watt a little bit better, but interview.
Way better.
Interview. Kerrigan, though, unbelievable at the football, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that Steelers D-line is a game changer. I think they're good. And it's not just them, by the way. If they're good, though, the secondary can, because everybody's tied together. That D-line and the secondary, they kind of operate with each other. You see.
They're number 1 in sack percentage, and Philly is number 23 in giving up sacks.
And that's a stat that you would be able to hear on Hammer Down, which will be on at 3:30 on youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. That is the premier gambling podcast that comes out of this office with Tone Diggs, myself, Gumpy, and Michael Lombardi, former GM. We've been on a little bit of a heater as well. So 3:30, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show, Hammer Down. Those types of stats that make you feel good about the bets that you're picking will be in abundance. Let's go to the phones here. Let's go to Evan in Buffalo. What's going on, Buffalo?
Hey, what's up, Pat?
What's going on, bub?
Not much. It's Feel Good Friday here. I was just wondering, what do you think if the Titans get one more case? Is that going to be like the straw that broke the camel's back and they finally have to forfeit the games, or what's going to go on there?
They said something about contact tracing not being a problem if another one comes up for them and the Jets or something like that. It feels like the game between the Titans and the Bills is going to happen regardless of what happens. Now, if like 4 more pop up, I would assume that would be a bit alarming. But if 1 more pops up with their contact tracing, they think that they have it under control. But the Bills, they're sitting in a situation where they're getting affected by this, and then the Chiefs are getting affected by this, and then the Steelers got affected by this. And it's a lot of teams that didn't really have anything go wrong or getting affected by this. And you're going to hear some fans probably get rather loud if this continues. Or what we think, by the way, everybody's going to get it under control. This ain't going to happen ever again. We're going to have no more positives the rest of the year.
That would be ideal.
That's what we think.
That's what we think.
They got to.
Well, I mean, all the other teams doing it.
Dude. If you hear Jerry Jones, by the way, Jerry's like, listen, if we need to take a fucking team out of Nashville, we can do that. Okay? Everybody else seems to have it figured out. Well, they don't. Okay, so you think Jerry World shuts down because of what? Pedal bars in Nashville? And by the way, we can become the country capital of the South too if we need to. We'll put a little Broadway out there, a couple hunk dunks and boots that are given away for basically $20 a pop if we want to. I would do that if they continue to have this COVID problem. They need to be punished more than anybody's ever been punished in history. And I just wanted to send out a little warning to Jerry, like, watch what you wish for. Because if that happens to your team, it's going to come right back around in the same fashion. And we all believe that that's probably how it's going to go. But there's a chance it doesn't. There's a chance no more COVID in the NFL.
Well, let's remember, Dak does love his dinner parties, so he may, you got to be careful.
Why do you gotta
Let's go to Hunter in Texas. Why are you talking about their personal life? Okay?
I'm just saying, that's a COVID protocol. You got to be careful. That was during, this entire thing.
No, that was during quarantine. That was not during this.
Which is, towards the beginning of the pandemic. But still, and with the Red Rifle Andy Dolan behind him, I mean, I'd just be careful out knows that.
Just worry about your own quarterback.
Yeah,
I am.
Fins up, pal.
Gumpy.
Got him.
Hey, Gumpy, happy birthday yesterday, man.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Gump.
Hunter in Texas, what's going on, bub?
Hey, boys. How y'all doing?
Not too shabby, bub. How are you? What part of Texas are you in?
Like 45 minutes south of Dallas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we know where that is.
Right where that is.
Waco?
I live by the coast now.
Right by Permia.
It's not. I don't think it's Waco. I don't think it's Waco.
What were you saying?
Nah, nothing. We're trying to figure out the map. We don't know shit, to be honest with you. What do you want to talk about, Hunter?
I was thinking, is the Cowboys' defense, is it because of Mike Nolan's complexity scheme? Or is it because of the effort of the Cowboys? And are they just as sad as Adam Cole?
Oh,
hell yeah.
Baby. I
Got him.
appreciate that. I already got his ass kicked the other night. That's a real shame.
makes
The Cowboys, obviously their fans are automatically going to, and I would assume Nolan is appreciative of what Xavier Woods said in that press conference because it does kind of take the heat away from his scheme or strategy because a player came out and basically used his outdoor voice instead of his inside voice for something that is definitely thought by a lot of secondary members because they never get to sub out basically. Like, hey, we cannot go full speed for 70 plays. Like, that is just impossible. What do you want from us? So then if you listen to that, you automatically go, oh, so these guys are half-assing it out on the field for numerous occasions. And this guy who was a 6th-round pick who's worked his way into a starter, which is normally an incredible feat and an incredible work ethic, which it had to be, by the way. Now the Cowboys fans and Mike Nolan, to be exact, has an excuse. Like, oh, the players aren't going full go. It's the classic, we had the right idea, we just didn't execute. So Nolan now can say, well, we have the right scheme, we have the right strategy, we have everything. Our players just don't give effort or don't execute or whatever. And then you talk to Darius Butler, host of the Man to Man podcast alongside Antoine Bethea, who literally studies secondaries for fun. Like, that's what he does. Doesn't happen in the sports reporting world, by the way. It's something that has become quite an advantage for us to listen to. And he's like, effort is probably like number 3 or 4 on their list. Communication, what they're doing, then maybe effort is down there. But he said that Xavier Woods basically was talking about how everybody knows that they have to pace themselves in the secondary because they don't get subbed out. So maybe there is some plays where they're not going full speed, they're jogging, but it doesn't affect their team, which I would assume old Xavier Woods here would have elaborated on, and that's probably what he thought, and his words came out differently. But if you're a Cowboys fan, you hear that, you're like, I don't want to hear that shit. Fucking run your ass to the ball. Like, that's what I did. High school football, by the way, we played in front of 60, 70,000. You know what they had Billy Bob Thornton do? They put a shot in his ass, and he blocked every single down as if it was his last. Cowboys players should be doing that. You're getting paid a lot more. And you can understand why people think like that. It's completely fair for them to think like that. But I think the scheme is a potential problem down there in Dallas.
Yeah, it must be nice to be Mike Nolan, where you can just put out a steaming plate of shit on Sundays, and people are like, well, you know, his scheme's just way too complex. I mean, he's just
too smart. He's too smart.
Maybe he's too big of a dumbass to dumb it down for these guys.
Yeah, let's go to Moody in Sacramento. What's going on, Moody?
Hey, Pat. So I just want to say what's up to you and the boys, and congratulations on 1 million followers.
What? Subscribers, but 1 million too. Thank you. Appreciate you, Moody. Appreciate you, man.
So I wanted to figure out what's up with Kyle Shanahan. So I'm a huge Patriots fan, and my whole family is Niner fans. And I have a twin brother who was a huge Colts fan. Anytime the Patriots and Colts played, we always bet. And when the 49ers got Kaepernick, he jumped on that bandwagon. So I just wanted to figure out, do you believe Kyle Shanahan is the real deal?
Quite a little run around there. We got a history
quite a
there.
path we took
Family loves 49ers because that's probably where he's from. Him and his brother, twins, a little bit of front runners, right? Because the Patriots and Colts had a great run there for a long time. His brother said, hey, whenever Kaepernick goes to the Niners, I like Kaepernick, or I like the Niners now. Okay, so he moved over there. Moody stayed strong, though, with the dynasty because they were so good for so long.
Still good, yeah.
So I can understand all of the decisions that were made there. I think going against the family immediately for both twins, a wild decision. But, hey, I like the way you're a Maverick out there, okay? I like the way you're doing it. With Kyle Shanahan, I think the interesting thing about him is until he wins the Super Bowl, everybody's going to ask, he's going to say he's great, but can he do it on a big stage? Can he do it on a big 28-3 happens. lose, obviously not great. Lead in the Super Bowl this past year, lose, not great. Now they got everybody in their team injured. They still find a way to win against the Giants. They lose in a close one against the Eagles with their fifth stringers in a lot of different positions. And it's interesting, people are asking questions about Shanahan now. I don't think the team now that Shanahan is coaching should warrant any questions because of how banged up everybody is, and I assume they're dumbing down a lot of things and doing a lot of things differently. But if he gets into a big game again and loses, then you got to be like, is this guy ever going to get over this one little thing? Because I think his brain is an incredible one. Watching him put together an offensive strategy, especially in those playoffs last year, was awesome. His defense really rallied. I mean, I love Kyle Shanahan as a football coach, but I think that's the question. As opposed to, is he a good coach? I think we've all agreed he's a good coach. The big question is, can he do it? Can he do the big one? And by the way, there's a lot of coaches who coach for a long time and never get put in that position to win the big one. He's already been there. So I think that's why he answers the question if he is a good coach. It's just whether or not he can win it. I assume he will. Jimmy G is allegedly supposed to come back this weekend. That's big for him, I'd assume. And I'm excited to see the Niners go the rest of the way here.
Well, look how long it took Andy Reid. Like, they had those same questions for Andy Reid literally until he won the Super Bowl with KC. So, I mean, it
now
might
he's
be
in
a
goat.
while.
Now he's in GOAT talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And before that, it was like, this guy can't win a big game. Now it's like, GOAT. This guy's GOAT of all time. Him and Belichick, GOAT. That's the way it goes.
And for Shanahan, like, those two games, one play here, one play there. Like, Edelman doesn't make that catch in the Super Bowl, and if Jimmy G hits Emmanuel Sanders, like, he's got.
Why'd you have to say it? Jimmy G's coming back.
I was just picking one play in each game randomly.
Feel good.
Atlanta has also
Tony.
gone to shit since he left.
True.
Completely. And also the other team he left before that to go to Atlanta went to shit as well. So I do think whenever he leaves, places get worse. And the places he goes to gets better, which is a good sign of a good coach. But the only question for him is, can he do it? And I think him and Lynch are a great little tag team down there. Last call of the day. Do we want to go to Texas, Arizona, South Carolina, or Cincinnati or Connecticut?
Definitely not Connecticut.
Okay,
Arizona.
Connecticut out. Let's go to Arizona. Let's go to Dom. Big Dom in Arizona. What's going on, Dom?
Big Dom.
How's it going, Pat? First off, happy birthday to the big man Z down there. Bear down.
Hey, Bear Don. Let's go. Thank you very much.
Birthday, Z.
Happy birthday, Gump.
Second thing I want to know, is it ironic or not that the Eagles let go Frank Reich, and now they're now looking a little bit like stooges down there, and the Colts are looking to be on the come-up?
Great question, Dom. I think Nick Foles also leaving could be something you talk about because he left the Jags where they look like bad. He left the Eagles, they look bad. He goes to the Bears, 4-1.
Yep.
No big
Huh?
deal.
Is that a conversation to be had? Frank Reich, I guess, and Nick Foles were a great tag team. Everybody talked about that leading into the Colts-Bears game. It was like #1 story on every news network here in Indianapolis about how much Frank and how much Nick Foles loved each other or whatever. I think Frank is a good coach. I think he's made some decisions in his first couple years as head coach that people go, He's made a couple decisions and you go, love that. He was very aggressive there for a while. Now he's a big stats guy, analytics guy, but that Colts team is playing very, very good right now. And it's not strictly because of Frank Reich's offense, it's because the defense is balling. And if you have a good defense, you have a good team normally. It just got to be able to put up points. He brought in Phil Rivers. We'll see if they'll be able to do it down the stretch.
I don't know if necessarily the Eagles let him go either. I mean, he was offensive coordinator, got offered a head coaching job.
All right, as we wrap up here in the last minute, I'm going to give, you take a head coaching gig. I'm going to run through some games here and give you some picks.
Okay. Let's go.
Colts at Browns. Browns plus 1.5. Go ahead and hammer the Colts. Bengals at Ravens. Ravens minus 12.5. Go ahead and hammer the Bengals. Raiders at Chiefs. Chiefs minus 11.5. Go ahead and hammer the Chiefs. Rams at the Washington football team. Washington football team plus 7. Go ahead and hammer. Neither team, we don't know who the quarterback is. Eagles at Steelers. Steelers minus 7 all day. Vikings at Seahawks minus 7. Not going to pick that one. Giants at Cowboys. Cowboys minus 8.5. Go ahead and hit the Giants there. And the Jags at the Texans. Texans minus 5.5. That Texans team's going to play the best football game you've seen them play probably in the last year this weekend against the Jags. Hate to break to you, Minshew Mania, but they just got their coach fired. They're going to have to perform well. They know that. That is a call to the entire locker room. We got about 20 seconds left here on this week. I can't thank you all enough for listening here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 Sirius XM. Chris Mad Dog Russo is up next. We'll be back with Overreaction Monday. More guests, more conversations, more of your phone calls, more life. Have the greatest weekend you've ever had in your entire life. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. Let's go. All right, we're clear. See you later, man. You have a good weekend, too.
See you, dude.
Be good.
You be good.
We're always good.
You be good.
Oh, I like that.
We will. He did not say happy birthday.
He did not say
No,
happy
yeah.
birthday. Shit. To Jay or Gumpy or myself.
You. Oh,
Hey,
thank you, Colin.
guys.
Thank you.
Good news
What do
and
you
bad
mean?
news?
That's a shame. All right.
Hey, be great.
Hey, we appreciate. He just told us that this is potentially our last show together, and that was the overwhelming sigh that you heard come out of all of us. Thank you, Colin. Great week, man. Appreciate
Great
you.
week, Colin.
Hated you last week. Love you this week. The to the YouTube watchers, we can't thank you enough for allowing us to have our own network to do whatever we want, really. And I joined Mark Sanchez's podcast, Fourth and Forever.
Yeah.
I believe. And I got a chance to talk to him. And he started talking to me about all the things I've done or whatever and what I'm currently doing. And he congratulated me on the Sirius deal. And we're very pumped about the Sirius deal. Like being back on the Sirius platform, not having the FCC restrictions is awesome. The people at Sirius, we get along with very, very, very well. Now, there's a couple other hosts, I guess, on the channel that we're on that don't like us, but they're fucking worthless anyway, so who cares? But everything else at Sirius, the workers at Sirius, the platform Sirius provides, we are very, 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 very pumped to be a part of that group. But what they do and the deal that we have with them is they just license our YouTube show and put it on that channel. So we are a YouTube show that is currently on Sirius at this time. I'm not sure there's a lot of other shows that get a chance to do that. And the only reason why we can be able to make those decisions and do those things is because the amount of people that choose to watch every single day. We had like 40,000 people watching live concurrently on Tuesday. We had 35,000 on Monday. We got up to 28,000 today. It's just, we can't thank you enough for spending time with us. 3 hours with me is a long time. I've been with me for 33 years and it's been fucking rough. But the fact that you rock with us every single day, we cannot thank you enough. We got to 1 million subscribers this week. That is a massive ordeal for us because not too long ago, we didn't even have 100,000 followers. And the challenge was put out to us to get 100,000 followers. And we didn't know if being a sports show, talking sports, and not doing, the incredibly hard work that it takes to be a YouTuber, which is all day filming, all day editing, doing things like that. We didn't know if there was a sports role or a sports world in the YouTube. And the fact that you guys have allowed us to kind of have this lane, create this lane, and be able to have our own network so we can put other people on and do that shit, like we are so thankful. So this week has been a very, very cool week for us. We will continue to try to put on good shows. Some shows are going to suck, though. I'm just going to let you know, some shows are going to suck out of here. We will continue to try to put out great content, and we can't thank you enough for rocking with us. So for myself, Tone, Boston Connor, Ty Schmidt, birthday boy Viva Lazito, my brother, Mr. Mansuri, Evan Fox, Nick Moraldo, yesterday's birthday boy Gumpy, Billy Tubes, Tim McAfee, CFO Phil, everybody in our operation. We cannot thank you enough for rocking with us. And we will see you on Monday for Overreaction Monday on the Pat McAfee Show. And we'll be back in 30 minutes with an episode of Hammer Don, hosted by Tone Diggs at 3:30. So be a friend, tell a friend if you enjoy what we're doing. And if you don't, go fuck yourself. Cheers. Have a great weekend. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, October 9th, 2020. Hello. It's time to give away $100,000. That's right. Since we got to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, it's time to give away $100,000. If you are a subscriber to this YouTube page, this is what you need to do. Screenshot that you are subscribed. Also, screenshot your favorite video we've ever put out. Then post it on Instagram or on Twitter using the hashtag #OneOfMcAfee'sMillion. And you will be automatically entered into a chance to win a $30,000 prize, a $20,000 prize, or $51,000 prizes that we will be giving out to random entrants into the One of McAfee's Million $100,000 giveaway. We can't thank you enough. This has been a dream of our office, the fact that we're here. It's time to celebrate with everybody. We appreciate you. Can't wait to see you. Hashtag One of McAfee's Million. We will see you on the internet, and hopefully you will be a winner of some of our money, baby.